Chapter 1286. 1286 Chapter 1286 Obtaining the Technique. As for Lu Ming, he was getting closer and closer to the Jade Token. The closer they got to the Jade Token, the more agitated the black shadows seemed to be. They screamed with all their might. Ear-piercing sounds rang out as they rushed toward Lu Ming with no regard for their lives. In particular, some of the black shadows were extremely powerful and could pose a fatal threat to supreme beings. Lu Ming's prison-suppressing heavenly art could not force them back for a while. Prison-suppressing steel. Lu Ming's spine glowed. As the blood-red light spread, the prison-suppressing steel's bloodline emerged. Lu Ming performed the blood fusion and transformed into the prison-suppressing steel's bloodline. The word on the steel glowed with a brilliant light and its suppression power was greatly enhanced. Boom. The prison-suppressing steel's bloodline enlarged to the size of a mountain and pressed down on a black shadow. Squeak. With a shrill scream, the black shadows twisted rapidly under the cover of the prison-guarding steel, then collapsed and disappeared into black smoke. Even the black shadows that could pose a threat to supreme beings were the same. Under the suppression of the prison-suppressing steel's bloodline, they could not resist for long and also turned into black smoke and dissipated. Buzz. The prison-suppressing steel's bloodline trembled, and its power of suppression burst forth. A large number of black shadows were turned into ashes. Lu Ming was not hindered at all and he flew toward the Jade Card. In a few breaths, Lu Ming was close to the Jade Card. The prison-suppressing steel shrunk and turned back into Lu Ming's appearance. He reached out his palm and grabbed the Jade Card. Bang. At this moment, the Jade Token exploded and turned into green smoke. What's going on? Lu Ming's expression changed and he looked gloomy. Could it be that everything was fake? The cultivation method of the pure spirit body was all fake? It's all a scam? Tricking them into coming here and getting nothing? At the thought of this, Lu Ming's expression turned uglier. It was wrong. Lu Ming suddenly looked at a hall below. There, in the courtyard of a palace, there was a figure sitting cross-legged. It was a middle-aged man who looked like a living person. However, with a sweep of his spiritual sense, Lu Ming knew that this person was dead. He had been dead for many years. However, this person's cultivation level was too high, and his body was so strong that even after so many years, his body still did not rot. This person might be the master of this place. Lu Ming's heart skipped a beat and he made a guess. At the thought of this, Lu Ming descended and landed in the courtyard. However, he did not dare to let his guard down and was on his guard. At the same time, he summoned the bubble and squatted on his shoulder. If anything went wrong, he could use the space-time power of the bubble to escape quickly. However, after careful observation, there was nothing unusual. Moreover, when Lu Ming landed in the courtyard, the black shadows above him all stopped and did not continue to pursue him. There's no storage ring. Nothing was left behind. Lu Ming looked around and was disappointed. Clearly, even the storage ring of this expert had been taken away after his death. Nothing was left behind. Lu Ming initially thought that he could obtain the cultivation method for the pure spirit body. It seemed that it was impossible. What? At this moment, Lu Ming was stunned. The middle-aged man's glabella began to glow. Then, a jade card emerged from the middle-aged man's glabella and floated above his head. When the Jade Token appeared, the middle-aged man's body exploded with a bang and turned into a pile of ashes. The ashes scattered with the wind and disappeared from the world. There was only a jade tablet floating in the courtyard. Lu Ming's eyes lit up. He condensed his essential core and formed a large hand. He grabbed the Jade Token and held it in his hand. Is it the cultivation method for a pure spirit body? Lu Ming's heart started to beat wildly. He scanned the Jade Token with his spiritual sense and was pleasantly surprised. That's right, there was a secret technique recorded in the Jade Token. It was the cultivation method of a pure spirit body. By cultivating a pure spirit body, one would have part of the power of a spirit body. With the foundation of a pure spirit body, it would be much easier to cultivate a true spirit body in the future. It was exactly as the rumors said. Lu Ming was overjoyed. If he could cultivate a pure spirit body, his combat strength would definitely increase greatly. It would be much easier for him to break through to the Emperor realm in the future. Furthermore, the cultivation method of the pure spirit body could be regarded as an important inheritance. In the future, his family and friends could all cultivate it. That way, the chances of breaking through to the Emperor realm would be much higher. This trip was not in vain. Lu Ming laughed and read the cultivation method of the pure spirit body in detail again. He memorized the contents and put the jade card away carefully. He then scanned the hall and did not discover anything else. Lu Ming soared into the sky, planning to leave this place. When the middle-aged man's body turned into ashes, the black shadows in the sky also turned into wisps of black smoke and disappeared as if they had never been there. Buzz. Lu Ming soared into the sky and landed on the roof of a temple. He then ran wildly out of the ancient city. Not long after, he had covered half the distance and was getting closer and closer to the exit. Buzz. Buzz. Whoosh. At this moment, the sound of air being torn could be heard. Figures appeared in front of Lu Ming, blocking his way. There were a total of 10 people. One of them was Hai Tian, the other was Hai Yu, and the other 8 were all supreme beings who had been brought here by Hai Tian and Hai Yu. The 9 great supremes blocked Lu Ming's path. Lu Ming, hand over the cultivation method for the pure spirit body. Hai Tian stared at Lu Ming greedily. If the cultivation method of the pure spirit body fell into the hands of a big force like the sea-suppressing marshal's mansion, it would definitely play a terrible role. It would bring more experts and even cultivate more emperors. Who said that I have the cultivation method of a pure spirit body? Yes, Lu Ming replied indifferently. He did not admit that he had obtained the cultivation method for the pure spirit body. Is there any use in quibbling? I clearly saw you rush towards that jade token, so you must have taken it. Hand it over now or we'll kill you. Take off your storage ring and check it for our slaviers. It's the same. Hai Tian shouted coldly. As for the fact that they had the chance to escape because Lu Ming had attracted a large number of shadows, he did not take it to heart at all. In his opinion, it was Lu Ming's duty to attract the shadows and let them escape. It was Lu Ming's honor. Now, it was Lu Ming's duty to hand over the cultivation method of the pure spirit body. Otherwise he would die. The cultivation method of the pure spirit body belongs to us, the Sea Demon tribe. At this moment, a loud roar was heard. Many tall figures rushed over and appeared behind Lu Ming, surrounding him. It was the Supreme Flood Dragon and the other supreme powerhouses of the Sea Demon race. There were 10 of them. Now, the Sea Demon tribe had all taken human form, but the brutal aura on their bodies was frightening. Detestable. Hai Yu and the others growled as they looked at the Flood Dragon Sovereign and the others with fear. This man is a human. The cultivation method of the pure spirit body he obtained should belong to us humans. Hai Yu said. Chapter 1287. 1287 Besieging Lu Ming. Ah, what a joke. This is the ancestral land of the Sea Demon tribe. The cultivation method of the pure spirit body naturally belongs to us. The Flood Dragon Sovereign laughed out loud as he glared at Hai Yu with his cold eyes. His powerful aura had completely locked onto Lu Ming. Hai Yu did the same. He released his aura and stared at the Flood Dragon Sovereign. In their eyes, their greatest enemy was each other. As for Lu Ming, although he was powerful, he was alone. They did not take him seriously at all. Lu Ming, why don't you hand over the cultivation method for the pure spirit body? Hurry up and hand it over, and I'll let bygones be bygones for you hitting my brother. Hai Yu shouted coldly. He was slowly losing his patience. Hee, you guys really think you can take me down? Lu Ming sneered. Don't tell me you still want to resist? Let me tell you, you're seeking your own death. Hai Yu chided. He did not want to let Lu Ming off, but he was afraid that Lu Ming's desperate counterattack would give the Sea Demon tribe an opportunity to attack. Is that so? The corners of Lu Ming's mouth curled up slightly. Suddenly, he pounced on one of the supreme beings from the sea-suppressing marshal's residence. Roar. As he pounced, the 9 streams of dragon energy in Lu Ming's body burst forth. At the same time, his third bloodline emerged, and a powerful force surged into Lu Ming's body. Boom. Lu Ming threw a punch at the supreme being, and the bloodline of the prison-suppressing steel faintly emerged. You. The supreme being was shocked. He did not expect that Lu Ming would suddenly attack him under such circumstances. In a hurry, he retaliated with all his might. However, as soon as the two of them exchanged blows, the supreme being of the sea-suppressing marshal's mansion was shocked and retreated backward, blood spurting out of his mouth. Given Lu Ming's current combat strength, he could easily suppress an ordinary supreme being. Moreover, this person was not prepared at all. Kill? After injuring his opponent with one move, Lu Ming shouted and stepped forward. The 9-dragon bloodline appeared above his head. Lu Ming used the fusion of the bloodlines to transform into 9 dragons. His dragon claws stepped out and shattered the void. The terrifying pressure made the Supreme Being's heart tremble. He hurriedly cast blood fusion, hoping to stop Lu Ming. However, it was all in vain. Lu Ming's dragon claws swiped down continuously, breaking apart the other party's blood meridian power. His blood meridian body collapsed and he returned to his human form. Buzz. The dragon claw didn't stop and continued to claw down. No. The man roared. The next moment, the dragon claw grabbed his dantian. The violent force tore his body apart and even his spiritual spirit was torn into pieces. His body and soul were destroyed. A supreme being had been annihilated in a few moves after Lu Ming's sudden attack. It was so fast that Hai Yu and the others only realized what was going on. You're looking for death. Hai Yu let out an angry roar, and the battle axe in his hand chopped toward the head of 9 dragons. This axe seemed to be able to split the heavens and earth apart. Its power was astonishing. The black and sharp axe energy instantly reached the 9 dragons' head. Prison suppressing heaven art. Thunder God strike. A few of the 9 dragons' claws unleashed the prison suppressing heavenly art while the other dragon claws used the thunder God strike. Lightning filled the sky and formed a lightning phoenix that danced in the air as it pounced toward Hai Yu's battle axe. Boom, boom, boom. The 9 dragon claws landed on the battle axe with a series of loud bangs. Lu Ming's body trembled slightly with each explosion. After 9 explosions, Lu Ming was forced to take 9 steps back. Hai Yu's combat strength was too strong. He had awakened a 9th-level divine-level bloodline. Such a person was a peerless genius. He could easily fight opponents of a higher level and was invincible among those of the same level. Moreover, his cultivation was far higher than Lu Ming's. He had not even performed the blood fusion and he could already force Lu Ming to retreat. It was clear how terrifying his combat strength was. Kill? Hai Yu's killing intent burst out when he saw that Lu Ming could actually block his attack. With a loud roar, he wielded his battle axe and launched a storm of attacks at Lu Ming. Ding, ding, thump. The 9 dragons soared into the sky, and every inch of their muscles was a weapon. They could use the prison-suppressing heavenly art to fight with Hai Yu. The terrifying force shattered the ancient city below, and many palaces were turned into ashes. In an instant, the two of them exchanged more than 10 moves. Although Lu Ming was at a slight disadvantage, he would not lose for the time being. Let's attack together. Hai Yu shouted and ordered the other supreme martial artists in the sea-suppressing marshal's mansion. At this moment, the Flood Dragon Sovereign and the others were standing not far away and watching. They did not make a move, which made Hai Yu feel great pressure. He wanted to kill Lu Ming with thunderous means and seize the cultivation method of the pure spirit body, in case any delay would bring trouble. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. The other supreme beings made their moves as well. Powerful attacks streaked across the void and fell on Lu Ming. At the same time, a huge battle axe appeared above Hai Yu's head. This was his bloodline, and 9 golden chakra glowed with incomparable brilliance. Hai Yu turned into a beam of light and seeped into his blood vessels. He performed the blood vessels fusion and turned into a battle axe, slashing at Lu Ming with even more shocking power. Buzz. The lightning cauldron appeared above Lu Ming's head. It enlarged rapidly and crashed toward Hai Yu's battle axe. Clang. The thunder cauldron collided with the battle axe, and the space rolled like water waves, stirring up thousands of thunderbolts. It firmly blocked Hai Yu's battle axe and even sent it flying. After that, the divine dragon wagged its tail, and with a sweep of its tail, it destroyed the attacks of several supreme martial artists. Kill? Then Lu Ming let out a long roar and stepped out with his dragon claws. 3 gates of ceiling suddenly appeared in the sky and enveloped one of the supreme beings. He then controlled the lightning cauldron and smashed it down on the supreme being. The supreme being didn't even have time to scream before he was completely submerged by the lightning cauldron and shattered into pieces. Yet another supreme martial artist had been killed. Ah, damn it! Lu Ming, you must die today. Hai Yu shouted crazily. The supreme beings of the sea-suppressing marshal's mansion had been killed one after another. He had suffered a great loss. He was going crazy. The battle axe trembled and split the sky and earth as it slashed toward Lu Ming. Its power was terrifying. Clang. Lu Ming continued to use the lightning cauldron to block and clash with the battle axe, causing it to shake continuously. However, the battle axe was also sent flying. Buzz. The dragon's claw stepped in the air. Lu Ming did not linger in the battle. Instead, he charged outward. After all, the other party had too many people. Lu Ming planned to leave this place first. It's almost time. We can't let this brat escape. Not far away, the Flood Dragon Supreme, who had been watching the battle, spoke. At the same time, his body transformed rapidly, turning into a black flood dragon that was 1,000 meters long, pouncing towards Lu Ming. The other sea demons also transformed into their true forms and charged toward Lu Ming. With so many supreme beings taking action together, a pile of embryonic domains appeared and sealed off the entire area, completely blocking Lu Ming's path of retreat. This was especially so for the Flood Dragon Supreme, who was extremely powerful and not weaker than Haiyu at all. With so many people attacking at the same time, Lu Ming felt a terrifying pressure. Kill? Kill. Haiyu shouted as well. Together with the Flood Dragon Sovereign and the others, they attacked Lu Ming. Bubble. At this moment, Lu Ming exclaimed softly. Chirping. On his shoulder, the bubble cried out. Suddenly, a huge transparent bubble appeared near the Flood Dragon Sovereign and the others, enveloping the 10 sea demon sovereigns within it. Chapter 1288. 1288 Using the Emperor Weapon. The 10 sea demon sovereigns, including the Flood Dragon Sovereign, were instantly frozen in mid-air, unable to move. This is space-time will. Supreme Flood Dragon and the others roared madly in their hearts, their faces filled with fear. Kill? Lu Ming shouted. He stepped on the air with his dragon claws and appeared in front of a huge octopus in an instant. He stretched out his dragon claws and grabbed the 8 tentacles of the octopus. He tore them apart with all his might. The supreme octopus screamed in pain as its body was torn into pieces and it died on the spot. After killing another supreme being, Lu Ming didn't stop and continued to kill the next one. This time, Lu Ming had his eyes on the Flood Dragon Supreme as he charged towards him. Behind them, Haiyu and the others' attacks had arrived. Lu Ming controlled the lightning cauldron and hurled it at Haiyu and the rest. The world in the mouth. At the same time, Dandan also made her move. Her body became taller than a mountain, and she spat out a ball of chaotic light that seemed like a real world. Dandan, together with the Thunder Cauldron, successfully blocked Haiyu and the Supreme Beings from the sea-suppressing Marshal's mansion, while Lu Ming continued to attack the Flood Dragon Supreme. He had to end the battle as soon as possible. The power of the space-time imprisonment was limited, and it wouldn't be able to hold on for long with so many Supremes trapped at once. The claws of the 9 dragons were about to grab the Flood Dragon Sovereign. Dragon Vein Sword. At this moment, the Flood Dragon Sovereign let out a loud roar and spat out a black combat sword. This black combat sword had a true dragon coiling around its body, and there were dragon patterns on it. As soon as the combat sword appeared, the sword chi rushed into the sky. With a slight shake, it slashed at the transparent bubble. With a pop, the transparent bubble burst. As soon as the transparent bubble burst, the terrifying sword chi seemed to have broken free from its restraints and slashed violently at Lu Ming. Not good, it's an Emperor's spiritual weapon. Lu Ming's expression changed drastically. He did not dare to face the attack head-on. He used the 9 dragons' heaven-treading steps and retreated at top speed, avoiding the terrifying sword chi. Kill? The Flood Dragon Supreme controlled the Dragon Vein Sword and continued to attack Lu Ming. The sword chi swept across and surged in all directions. Lu Ming could only control the lightning cauldron to resist. With a clang, the lightning cauldron shook and the lightning in the sky was cut in half. The lightning cauldron was sent flying. An Emperor's spiritual weapon. The Dragon Vein Sword used by the Flood Dragon Sovereign was an Emperor's spiritual weapon. It was the Emperor of spiritual weapons, the highest level of existence, and its might was terrifying. Most importantly, the King's spiritual weapon contained a domain. If a supreme being used their own prototype domain to activate the domain in the King's spiritual weapon, the power would be even more shocking. Back then, Yan Kuangtu's supreme being position, coupled with the Emperor's spirit tower, had displayed combat strength comparable to the weakest emperor. As for Yan Kuangtu, he had only awakened an 8th grade divine bloodline. He wasn't even comparable to the Flood Dragon Sovereign, so his battle prowess was naturally inferior to the Flood Dragon Sovereign. In other words, the power unleashed by the Flood Dragon Sovereign with the Emperor's spiritual weapon had completely reached the level of an emperor, and even exceeded that of an ordinary emperor. Chirping. As the bubbles rang out, a transparent bubble appeared, enveloping the Flood Dragon Sovereign and the others within. They were once again frozen in place. Break. The Flood Dragon Sovereign manically maneuvered his dragon vein sword in an attempt to break the transparent bubble's restraint. However, no matter how powerful he would still need some time to break the bubble. This little bit of time was enough for Lu Ming. Lu Ming charged towards a supreme shark. The shark could not move at all as it was enveloped by the transparent bubble. Lu Ming's dragon claws tore its body apart and it died on the spot. He had killed another supreme martial artist. Bang! At this moment, the Flood Dragon Sovereign finally broke the transparent bubble and charged towards Lu Ming with a roar. Lu Ming retreated and did not want to fight head-on with the Flood Dragon Sovereign. You guys spread out. If anyone is trapped, help each other. Stop. Sovereign Flood Dragon shouted. The other Sea Demon Sovereigns spread out and attacked Lu Ming from a distance. One attack after another streaked across the void and attacked Lu Ming. Die. At this moment, a cold voice was heard. A terrifying attack was launched at Lu Ming. The terrifying attack completely enveloped him. At this moment, Lu Ming's hair stood on end as he felt the threat of death. Hai Yu had used the bloodline fusion to turn into a battle axe, but now, another battle axe appeared beside it, exuding an extremely terrifying aura. Emperor's spiritual weapon. It's an Emperor's spiritual weapon again. Hai Yu also had an Emperor's spiritual weapon. With his cultivation, he could activate it, and its power was no weaker than that of the Flood Dragon Sovereign. Before this, he had been holding back and did not use the Emperor's spiritual weapon. He was waiting for the right moment to launch a fatal attack. He wanted to kill Lu Ming with this attack. This attack was indeed very well grasped. In a hurry, Lu Ming controlled the lightning cauldron to block it. However, Lu Ming's cultivation level was still weak. Although the lightning cauldron was strong, it could not unleash much of its power. He was struck by the battle axe and was sent flying far away. The battle axe did not stop and continued to slash at Lu Ming. Nest, watch me. Dandan shouted loudly, her four limbs retracted into the turtle shell. The turtle shell glowed and flew out, blocking in front of the battle axe. Clang. The battle axe struck the turtle shell and sent Dandan flying far away. However, Dandan's block gave Lu Ming an opportunity. He used the 9 Dragons' heaven-stomping steps and retreated like a stream of light, avoiding Hai Yu's fatal blow. At the same time, Bubbles opened his mouth and a transparent bubble appeared, enveloping Hai Yu. Hai Yu roared and controlled the Emperor's spiritual weapon to attack the transparent bubble. At the same time, the attacks of the Flood Dragon Sovereign and the other sea demons also arrived. With so many supreme beings and 2 of the most powerful people with Emperor's spiritual weapons, Lu Ming was exhausted and at a complete disadvantage. Moreover, the other party had learned their lesson. Everyone was spread out. Bubbles, space-time intent couldn't cover such a large area. It could only cover 1 or 2 people at once. Seeing that one of them had been trapped, Lu Ming wanted to kill him, but the others immediately came to his rescue. More than 10 terrifying attacks pierced through the void and attacked Lu Ming, leaving him no time to kill anyone else. In that case, even if Lu Ming, Dandan, and Bubbles joined forces, they were very passive and were not a match at all. The situation was very critical. There were too many people on the other side. In total, there were nearly 20 supreme beings and 2 of them were top-notch supreme beings. Their combat strength was already extremely terrifying. With the addition of the Emperor's spiritual weapon, it was completely 2 emperors. With so many people working together, it was normal that Lu Ming and the rest were no match for them. If other people were here, even an ordinary emperor, they might not be a match for him. He was seriously injured, but Lu Ming was still able to barely resist. It was already extremely shocking. However, it would be more and more disadvantageous to Lu Ming if this continued. In the blink of an eye, they had exchanged a dozen moves. The light on the 9 dragon bloodline started to dim. His bloodline power is almost exhausted. Kill. He's dead. Hai Yu and the others were overjoyed. Bang. At this moment, the bloodline of the 9 dragons crumbled. However, before Hai Yu, the Flood Dragon Sovereign, and the others could smile, a stone tablet appeared. It rapidly grew in size and appeared in the sky. The bloodline of the prison-suppressing steel. Chapter 1289. 1289 5 Intent Realms at Completion. Clang. The lower part of the prison-suppressing steel's bloodline was the original body, which was indestructible. It blocked the attack of the dragon vein sword. Although it was sent flying, it was not broken. Yes, my earth essence is about to break through. At this moment Lu Ming had an idea. Originally, when he entered the depths of the sea, he was closer to the earth and resonated with it. This caused the earth mentality to show signs of loosening. After the continuous battle, Lu Ming had circulated the 5 kinds of mentality to the extreme. In addition, Lu Ming had activated the bloodline of the prison-suppressing steel, which made him feel closer to the earth mentality. It seemed that he could make a breakthrough at any time. Buzz. Buzz. The prison-suppressing steel trembled. Together with Bubbles, Dandan, Haiyu, Supreme Flood Dragon, and the others, Lu Ming exerted all his skills to the extreme. While they were fighting, Lu Ming was also comprehending the Earth Essence realm. As long as he successfully comprehended the Earth concept and broke through to the complete 4th level, Lu Ming's combat strength would increase slightly. He would have more confidence in breaking out of the encirclement. Mountain and sea slash. Haiyu roared. He had completely lost his patience. He exerted his combat strength to the maximum and was eager to kill Lu Ming. At this moment he had returned to his human form. He held the giant axe, the Emperor's spiritual weapon, and slashed it at Lu Ming. The main intent that Haiyu had comprehended was the earth intent. As the battle axe slashed out, the terrifying pressure of the earth concept acted on Lu Ming's body, as if it was going to break his body. However, Lu Ming was not shocked. Instead he was overjoyed. "I'll use you to help me break through." Lu Ming's eyes were filled with ruthlessness. He controlled the lightning cauldron and charged at Haiyu. This time Lu Ming did not choose to retreat. Instead he fought head-on with Haiyu. Haha die. Haiyu was overjoyed when he saw Lu Ming charging at him. The power of the battle axe in his hand increased a little. Clang. The battle axe collided with the lightning cauldron, causing a violent tremor. A terrifying force gushed over. Lu Ming's body shook violently and he retreated continuously. Dandan, Bubble, help me block those sea demons for now. Lu Ming sent a voice transmission to Dandan and Bubbles. Chirping. Pow Pow waved her hands and nodded repeatedly, indicating that there was no problem. On the other hand, Dandan was full of resentment. She mumbled and wanted Lu Ming to compensate her after the event. However, Dandan and Bubbles were indeed worthy of being in the top 10. Although they had yet to fully mature, they were able to unleash their full strength and coordinate with each other. Their various techniques were extremely profound. Although they couldn't defeat the Flood Dragon Sovereign, they were still able to delay him for a short while. Lu Ming, on the other hand, was focused on the battle with Haiyu. He wanted to make use of the vast ocean to break through the Earth Essence realm. Clang, clang, clang. Lu Ming used the Thunder Cauldron as a shield to block the opponent's Emperor's spiritual weapon and engaged in a great battle with Haiyu. Although Lu Ming was at a complete disadvantage, Haiyu could not kill Lu Ming in a short time. In the blink of an eye, they had exchanged dozens of moves. Soon. With the help of Haiyu's Earth concept and his own, Lu Ming felt that his understanding of the Earth concept was deepening and he could make a breakthrough at any time. Earth, all-encompassing, able to breed life, breed all things, inclusive of everything, profound and vast. Lu Ming's mind was filled with thoughts. At that moment, many figures appeared in the distance where Lu Ming and the rest were fighting. They were all people who had entered this place. They looked from afar and saw that there were high-level spiritual god experts and supreme being experts. At this moment they were all extremely shocked. Is that Lu Ming's combat strength? This is really shocking. Isn't the youth champion a little too strong? Even after Haiyu and Supreme Flood Dragon used their Emperor's spiritual weapons, they still couldn't take him down. Terrifying. It's too terrifying. Moreover, Lu Ming's 2 pets are also extremely terrifying. The onlookers gasped in surprise and looked at Lu Ming in shock. Of course, there were also supreme martial artists who had other ideas. It seems like the cultivation method of the pure spirit body has fallen into Lu Ming's hands. The stronger Lu Ming is, the better. It would be best if he, Haiyu, and the others are both injured. Then I can just sit back and reap the benefits. Some supreme martial artists thought. In fact, this supreme martial artist wasn't the only one who thought this way. The other supreme martial artists also thought the same way. Each of these sovereigns had come in alone. At most, 2 of them would join forces. They were no match for Haiyu or the Flood Dragon Sovereign. If the cultivation method of the pure spirit body fell into the hands of Haiyu or the Flood Dragon Sovereign, they would have no hope at all. However, if Lu Ming could fight with them and both of them would suffer, they would have a little hope. How is that possible? How could Lu Ming be so powerful? How can there be such a strong person in the younger generation? I can't accept this. Hai Tian muttered to himself not far away. His eyes were filled with jealousy. He was the most shocked. Lu Ming's combat strength had exceeded his imagination again and again. At this moment, the ninth island was packed with people. Many warriors who had low cultivation and couldn't go deep into the sea were waiting here. They couldn't enter the bottom of the sea, so they just waited here to see if there was a cultivation method for pure spirit bodies and who could get it. Selah. At this moment, the space suddenly split open and a figure stepped out. It was an old man with gray hair, wearing a purple and gold robe. The moment he appeared, an earth-shattering aura spread out, making it difficult for people to breathe. It was as if a mountain was pressing on their bodies. The Emperor, it's the Emperor. Judging from the clothes, it's the Emperor of the Sea Suppressing Marshal's Mansion. The eldest young master of the Sea Suppressing Marshal's Mansion, Hai Yu, is fighting in person. Now even the Emperor is here. Many people cried out in alarm as they looked at the elder in purple and gold with fear. Even the Emperor had been mobilized. After the old man in the purple-gold robe appeared, he looked around casually and then stood calmly in the void. He did not go to the bottom of the sea. In the depths of the sea in the ancient city, Lu Ming and Hai Yu exchanged a few more moves. Lu Ming, we have to think of a way to break out of the encirclement. We can't hold on much longer. Dandan shouted and waved her claws. All kinds of inscriptions formed a large array in the air. At the same time, Dandan also displayed all kinds of martial arts techniques, all of which were extremely profound and dazzling. I'll be done immediately. Lu Ming's eyes lit up. Suddenly, among the 5 colored essences on his body, the khaki essence suddenly increased in power and surpassed the other 4 essences. He had finally made a breakthrough in his earth will, and it had reached the full circle of level 4. In this way, Lu Ming's 5 intents had all reached the full circle of level 4. Clang. The 5 intents combined with the lightning cauldron clashed with Hai Yu. There was a loud boom and Lu Ming retreated, but this time he retreated even less than before. So what if I've broken through? I'll still die. Hai Yu bellowed and continued to charge at Lu Ming with his battle axe in hand. Dandan, Bubble, alright, get ready to break out. Lu Ming sent a voice transmission to Dandan and Bubbles. He was prepared to let Bubbles cast the space-time tunnel and break out of the encirclement. However, at this moment a sudden change occurred. Chapter 1290. 1290 The Primal Chaos Palace. A token suddenly flew out of Lu Ming's body and hovered above his head, emitting a brilliant light. It was a mixed essence token. The token that suddenly appeared on Lu Ming's body was actually a primordial chaos token. Why did the mixed energy token suddenly appear at this time? Lu Ming was bewildered. As soon as the primordial chaos token appeared, the 5 intents on Lu Ming's body automatically wrapped around the primordial chaos token, making it glow even brighter. Boom. Hai Yu's axe landed on the light of the token. The light did not move at all. Instead, Hai Yu was pushed back by a powerful force. Then, the primordial chaos token released a beam of light that enveloped Lu Ming. Lu Ming could feel a strong pulling force trying to pull him to another place. What's going on? Lu Ming was shocked. Selah. All of a sudden, the space trembled and Lu Ming felt the world spinning. His vision turned black and he was plunged into boundless darkness. Lu Ming had a feeling that he seemed to be passing through a long void and on a journey. After an unknown period of time, Lu Ming felt that he had regained his ability to move. There was light shining into his eyes. Lu Ming opened his eyes instinctively and looked around. As expected, his surroundings had changed. He was no longer in the ancient underwater city, but in a hall. The main hall was tall and majestic. The surrounding walls were built with huge rocks and were filled with an ancient and vicissitude aura. Moreover, there was a kind of chaotic mist floating on the walls. Lu Ming had never seen this kind of mist before, but it gave him a lofty, ancient and vast feeling. Where is this place? Did the primordial chaos token bring me here? Lu Ming had a series of questions in his heart. The primordial chaos token had suddenly appeared on its own and emitted a blinding light. The reason he had appeared here was definitely related to it. However, why did the mixed essence token suddenly act strangely and bring him here at that time? What was the reason? The more he thought about it, the more doubts Lu Ming had. Also, Dandan and Bubbles were still in the underwater ancient city and had not followed them. He did not know if they would be in danger facing Hai Yu and the others. Dandan and Bubble are both in the top 10. Their life-saving means must be superb. They should be fine. Lu Ming comforted himself. Then he looked around carefully. There was nothing in the empty hall and no one was there. There was only a huge door in front of the hall, which seemed to be a passage. "Excuse me, is anyone there?" Lu Ming opened his mouth but there was no one. He did not get any reply. Lu Ming frowned and asked another question. However, there was still no answer. Just when Lu Ming thought that there were no living creatures here, a voice was suddenly heard. "After so many years, someone has finally come." The voice was shrill and dry without any emotion. "Senior, I'm Lu Ming. May I know why you've brought me here?" Lu Ming perked up when he heard the sound. He cupped his fists and said to the void, "The primordial chaos token brought you here because you met the requirements." The shriveled voice was heard again. Then the space in front of Lu Ming rippled and a figure stepped out. "What?" Lu Ming was slightly stunned at the sight of this figure. This was because this figure was very strange. Although it had the appearance of a middle-aged man, its entire body was khaki. Even its skin and hair were khaki-colored, as if it was sculpted from rock. However, this khaki-colored burly man gave Lu Ming a feeling that he was vast and unfathomable. It was as if he was facing heaven and earth. Strong. He was definitely an unbelievable expert. His strength had exceeded Lu Ming's imagination. "You don't have to be surprised. I'm not a human. I'm just a puppet," the yellow-skinned man said. "A puppet?" Lu Ming was shocked. The khaki-colored man was actually a puppet. However, it seemed to possess the thoughts and emotions of a human. Moreover, its cultivation was unfathomable. It was actually a puppet. What kind of existence? How could he create such a puppet? "Senior, may I ask what this place is? How did I end up here?" Lu Ming humbly asked for guidance. "This is Hunyuan Sect, Primal Chaos Hall. Also I'm Tui." The khaki-colored man explained. "Hunyuan Sect, it's the Hunyuan Sect again." Lu Ming's eyes flickered. In the Divine Ruins, he had once heard Dandan mention that it was the Time and Space Spiritual Hall, which also belonged to the Hunyuan Sect. This place was also the Hunyuan Sect. As expected, the Battle of Providence was related to Hunyuan Sect. "Senior Earth One, could it be that this place is no longer in the primordial realm?" Lu Ming asked. "That's right, this place is the Heaven Realm," Earth One said. Heaven Realm? Lu Ming was shocked. The primordial chaos token had brought him to the Heaven Realm. "You should have a lot of questions I can explain to you. You must have obtained a primordial chaos token through the Battle of Providence. There aren't many people who can obtain a primordial chaos token. Only people who are considered to have great potential can obtain a primordial chaos token. As for you, you must have cultivated 5 different elemental heaven and earth intents. Moreover, all 5 intents have reached the peak of level 4. That's why the primal chaos token activated and brought you to the primal chaos palace. Here you will be tested. If you can pass the test, you will be able to obtain the chaos scripture. You will be able to combine the 5 intents you have comprehended into one and transform it into the supreme chaos intent." Earth One explained in detail. "Chaos intent? Is there really chaos will in the world?" Lu Ming was shocked and his eyes widened. He had heard of the chaos will before. It was a supreme will. It was said that the world and the universe came from the chaos. The chaos intent realm was an intent realm that transcended time and space. If the time and space concepts were the kings of the concepts, then the chaos concept was the emperor of the concepts. Lu Ming had always thought that the chaos concept was just a legend. He did not expect that such a concept really existed in the world. Furthermore, according to 2E, as long as Lu Ming passed the test, he would be able to obtain the chaos scripture and cultivate the chaos concept. Lu Ming's heart could not help but beat wildly. The chaos scripture was created by a supreme expert of the Hunyuan sect back then. One can cultivate the chaos will. After becoming an emperor, one can transform into the chaos domain and even the chaos laws. It's one of the strongest secret scriptures in the world. However, the conditions to cultivate it are extremely harsh. First, one must cultivate the will of 5 different attributes to the Great Circle of Level 4. "Alright, show me the intent realm you've comprehended," Earth One said. "Alright." Lu Ming quickly nodded and unleashed his 5 intents. A 5-colored glow surrounded Lu Ming's body in a dazzling manner. The 5 intents were able to merge and separate at will. It was extremely profound. Chapter 1291. 1291 The Trial of Chaos Intent and Slaughter. The earth, wind, fire, thunder, and water essences are indeed 5 different essences, and they are all combined. You barely qualify for the test. However, whether you can get the chaos scripture and successfully cultivate it will still require a series of tests. Earth 1 looked at the 5 intents surrounding Lu Ming and nodded slightly. There was a glimmer of hope in the depths of his eyes. Lu Ming was secretly shocked. He was amazed by the insane conditions for cultivating the chaos scripture. First of all, he had to comprehend the concepts of 5 completely different attributes. For example, Lu Ming's earth, wind, fire, thunder, and water concepts were 5 completely different concepts. If Lu Ming cultivated the earth concept and the other one was the mountain concept or the earth concept, it would not work. This was because the mountain concept, and earth concept had the same attributes. Or, it would be impossible even if one cultivated the water concept, ice concept, swamp concept, and so on because the fundamental attributes were the same. Only the intent of 5 completely different elements had been cultivated to the full circle of level 4. This condition was hard to find even 1 in a billion geniuses. Furthermore, he had to successfully merge all 5 intents. This was even more difficult and harsh. If not for Lu Ming's 9-dragon bloodline, he would not have been able to achieve it. Lu Ming could not imagine who else in the world could meet such a requirement other than him. And this was only the preliminary requirements of the test. If he wanted to cultivate, he still needed to go through the test. Well, that's all I have to say. Now take the test. Go through that passage and keep going. If you can walk to the end, you will get the chaos scripture and cultivate the chaos will. If you fail halfway, you will be teleported out and I will send you back. Also, in this place time is accelerated many times. Even if you stay here for a few years, only a moment will pass in the outside world. So you can rest assured and accept the test. Earth 1 said. A few years here is only a short while in the outside world. Lu Ming's eyes lit up and he was overjoyed. What he was worried about was that if he stayed here for too long, there would be changes in the outside world like Dandan and Bubbles, or the situation in the divine wilderness. But now Lu Ming did not need to worry. A few years here was only a short while in the outside world. What was there to worry about? At the same time, he marveled at Hunyuan's sect's strength. Hunyuan's sect. What kind of power was that? It was truly unfathomable and unimaginably powerful. I must get the chaos scripture. With his worries gone, Lu Ming's eyes were filled with fighting spirit. He clenched his fists. If he could successfully cultivate the legendary chaos will, his combat power would increase by a terrifying amount. It would become his most powerful trump card. More importantly, the help it would bring in the future would be unimaginable. Lu Ming's gaze slowly became determined. Senior Earth 1, this junior will be going. Lu Ming cupped his fists at 2E and stepped forward, walking towards the passage. His figure slowly disappeared into the passage. How many years has it been? I finally waited for someone. This time I must succeed. Looking at Lu Ming's disappearing back, 2Yi's eyes were filled with hope and anticipation. He had already waited for countless years. Over the long years, there were also outstanding heaven's favorites who met the requirements and were brought here. Unfortunately, no one had been able to make it to the end, pass all the tests and cultivate the chaos will. Therefore he could only wait. Every time someone came, it was a ray of hope. He was filled with anticipation and hoped that someone would succeed in cultivating it. Earth 1 stood quietly in the hall and waited. Lu Ming stepped into the passage. At first everything was calm. However, after walking for a while, the surrounding environment suddenly changed. Kill, kill, kill. All of a sudden roars filled with killing intent were heard. Endless killing intent suddenly enveloped Lu Ming's entire body. At this moment, Lu Ming's eyes turned red. It was as if countless wild beasts had been triggered in his heart. Lu Ming's heart was filled with endless murderous intent. This kind of killing intent was too cold and too strong. An ordinary person would turn into an idiot if they were struck by this kind of killing intent. However, Lu Ming's eyes only flickered for a moment at the beginning. He immediately calmed down. It's another test of killing intent. However, it's far inferior to the endless killing intent of the third bloodline. Lu Ming pondered in his heart. His gaze became calmer and calmer, not affected by his killing intent. In fact, Lu Ming also understood why there was a test of killing intent. This was because in a warrior's life, if he wanted to reach the peak, he had to kill his way out from mountains of corpses and seas of blood. This path was destined to be a bloody one, a path filled with killing intent. Those who were not determined would be influenced by the killing intent. Therefore, some of the more powerful inheritances would set up a test to test the killing intent. Unfortunately, Lu Ming's third bloodline had endless killing intent. These tests were child's play compared to the third bloodline. Lu Ming remained unmoved despite the killing intent enveloping him. His eyes were calm as he walked forward step by step, determined. Suddenly, the surrounding environment changed again. The endless killing intent disappeared without a trace. Squeak. A melodious chirping of birds rang in Lu Ming's ears. It was crisp and pleasant. A gentle breeze blew, bringing with it waves of fragrant flowers that refreshed one's mind. It was completely different from the endless killing intent just now. Lu Ming could not help but calm down. Lu Ming looked up and realized that he was outside a small mountain village. In front of them was a small mountain village. The small village was surrounded by green grass and colorful flowers. Birds were flying and chirping, making the village look like a paradise. Ding-ling-ling. A melodious voice rang out. It was a 6 or 7-year-old girl. She was very pink and had a red face. She was very cute. There was a string of bells on her wrists and ankles. When she walked, they made melodious sounds. The little girl jogged to Lu Ming's side and looked at him curiously. She whispered, "Big brother, are you an outsider? Are you lost? Come to my house, Ling Ling will treat you to milk tea." With that, the little girl pulled Lu Ming's big hand and walked towards the village. She was so innocent and cute that Lu Ming could not bear to reject her. "Hello, young man." An honest-looking man was carrying a bunch of firewood. When he saw Lu Ming, he smiled and greeted him. Even though Lu Ming knew that this was an illusion, he could not help but be influenced by this simplicity. A smile appeared on his face and he nodded at the burly man. "Mother, this big brother is lost. I brought him here as a guest to treat him to milk tea." The little girl pulled Lu Ming and walked into the village. They came to a wooden house. In front of the wooden house, there was a young woman in her 30s. When she saw Lu Ming, she flashed a clean smile and patted the little girl's head lovingly. "Since you're Ling Ling's friend, you're also Mother's friend. Wait here, I'll go get the milk tea." The young woman walked into the house and quickly took out a tea brick to make tea for Lu Ming. Very soon, the strong fragrance of milk tea wafted in front of the wooden house. Chapter 1292. 1292 Lu Ming's Killing Path. "Ling Ling, you have a friend now. Can you buy me a drink too?" A white-haired old man walked over and smiled. "Fifth grandpa, of course you can," the little girl said with a smile. The small mountain village was very simple. No one was scheming and their smiles were clean. Lu Ming could not help but be infected. He picked up the milk tea and took a sip. It was very sweet. "Big brother, is it good?" The little girl blinked her big eyes and asked. "It's good." Lu Ming smiled. "Thank you, big brother." The little girl revealed a happy smile and jumped around. The bells on her wrists and ankles rang with a pleasant sound. The people in the small mountain village were all very simple. Lu Ming's arrival attracted many people to watch. However, most of them were very simple and honest. They smiled at Lu Ming and their smiles revealed their sincerity. "I wonder what this illusionary realm will test." Lu Ming sipped his milk tea and a thought flashed across his mind. Suddenly, there was a slight sound of the air being cut. It was very light, like a child holding a sharp blade and stabbing it at Lu Ming. The sound was very light. However, with Lu Ming's cultivation level, he could still hear it clearly. It was Ling Ling, the little girl. A dagger appeared in her hand and she stabbed it at Lu Ming's stomach. At this moment, the little girl was not naive at all. Her face was filled with ferocity. "Kill?" The little girl shouted and stabbed the dagger straight at Lu Ming. Lu Ming retreated slightly and dodged the little girl's attack. "Kill?" A cold shout came from behind. The little girl's mother, the kind young woman, was also holding a sword and stabbing at Lu Ming with a ferocious expression. Following that, the old man on the right, the little girl's fifth grandpa, who was simple and honest earlier, also took out a knife and slashed at Lu Ming. Their strength was very small and weak, just like an ordinary villager. However, each of them seemed to have a deep hatred for Lu Ming and wanted to kill him. Lu Ming retreated casually and dodged all the attacks. However, they did not give up and charged at Lu Ming. "Kill?" Other than the little girl and the rest, the other villagers also took out their weapons and charged at Lu Ming. "What are you guys doing?" Lu Ming shouted. However, no one said a word. They charged at Lu Ming with bloodshot eyes. When Lu Ming retreated, they continued to charge at him. All around the small mountain village, the originally simple and honest villagers rushed towards Lu Ming as if they had gone mad. They wanted to kill Lu Ming, and all kinds of weapons were thrust and slashed at Lu Ming. Lu Ming dodged the attack. He wanted to soar into the sky and leave this place, but he realized that he could not. He was blocked by a force. Kill? More and more villagers charged at Lu Ming with bloodshot eyes. Ding Ling Ling. The little girl Ling Ling was at the forefront. She aimed a dagger at Lu Ming's stomach. Lu Ming dodged continuously, but the number of villagers increased and they surrounded him in all directions. Lu Ming's gaze turned colder and colder. I don't kill innocent people, but if you want to kill me, then I'm not innocent. Since we're enemies, then I'll kill you. Kill? As soon as Lu Ming uttered the word kill, a cold killing intent burst out from his body. A long spear appeared in his hands. With a flash of the long spear, the sky was filled with spear shadows. The spear was thrust out, and the first to bear the brunt was the little girl. The spear ray pierced through the space between her eyebrows, nailing her to the ground. After that, it was the young woman and the simple-minded fifth grandfather. An originally kind and simple person had been assassinated by Lu Ming. At first, Lu Ming's heart trembled. However, his gaze was soon replaced by a cold look. On the path of martial arts, since he had to kill, he would kill them thoroughly. Kill? Kill? The spear ray howled. How could these villagers resist it? They were killed one by one. Corpses covered the mountain village and blood dyed the paradise red. Lu Ming strode forward and walked out of the mountain village. There were still villagers charging at Lu Ming from all directions. In the end, they all turned into corpses. Very soon, Lu Ming stepped out of the village and saw a town that was even bigger than the previous village. Many people saw Lu Ming and shouted with red eyes, "Murderer! He's killing the innocent. Kill him." In the town, more and more people were charging toward Lu Ming. Lu Ming did not have a choice. He could only kill his way out. Blood qi filled the air and millions of corpses lay on the ground. Wherever Lu Ming went, everyone who saw him would want to kill him. Lu Ming had no choice but to kill them. Slowly, Lu Ming's eyes turned red. He exuded a cold killing intent and his gaze became colder and colder. Outside, in the great hall, Earth One was staring at a round ball in front of him. The image on the ball was the one where Lu Ming was. Suddenly, a ripple appeared in the space, and a golden figure appeared beside Earth One. Gold One. Earth One nodded. How is it? You can't even pass the first stage, right? Gold One said. I don't know. The first stage is very difficult. A martial arts expert can't be soft-hearted. If he meets an enemy, he must kill them no matter what. This is necessary. If he's soft-hearted, he'll only die in the hands of the enemy. However, in the endless slaughter, in the mountains of corpses and seas of blood, you have to stay clear-headed and keep your heart unchanged. Some people's hearts will slowly change in the endless slaughter and eventually turn into killing machines. But that's useless. Dao Tui's brows furrowed slightly. That's right. Humans are easily lost. Gold One said. Suddenly the space moved again and a few more figures appeared. They were puppets like Tui, but their colors were different. They were Lightning One, Wood One, Water One, and so on. The moment these figures appeared, they all stared at the round ball without blinking. It's been so many years. I hope this kid can pass. Gold One sighed. Everyone looked on silently. Lu Ming's massacre continued. His eyes were getting redder and redder, and the killing intent on his body was getting stronger and stronger. Kill, kill, kill. Kill everything. There was a voice in his mind that kept roaring, as if it wanted to drown Lu Ming in endless slaughter. This kind of killing intent was born in Lu Ming's heart, not from the outside world. Even the third bloodline could not help Lu Ming. Suppress. Suddenly, a loud voice rang in Lu Ming's mind. It was the voice from the bloodline of the prison suppressing steel. Lu Ming shivered and his mind regained a trace of clarity. That's not right. I, Lu Ming, have only killed my enemies and not the innocent. No matter how many enemies I kill, they are still my enemies and have nothing to do with others. Even if I have to kill, I'll kill those who deserve to be killed. Lu Ming's mind whirred and his eyes slowly regained clarity. In the end, he simply sat down cross-legged and his mind entered a state of emptiness. In the outside world, the attacks landed on Lu Ming's body and dissipated one after another, unable to hurt him at all. Chapter 1293. 1293 Martial Technique of Creation, Earth Origin Technique. After a few hours, Lu Ming opened his eyes. At this time, his eyes had regained their clarity. The killing intent in his eyes had completely disappeared. There was only calmness and peace. The people around him were still attacking Lu Ming. Lu Ming took a step forward and his essential core burst forth, condensing into an endless spear light. He pierced through the people and killed them all. However, this time Lu Ming's heart did not waver at all. On this path filled with killing, he would no longer be controlled by killing and become a killing machine. In the hall, Earth 1, Gold 1, and the others smiled when they saw this. He passed the first test. Earth 1 said with a smile. Although I passed the first stage, the later stages are even more difficult. Gold 1 sighed. Don't rush, take it one step at a time, Earth 1 said. The others nodded and continued to watch. This time Lu Ming did not stop. Endless spear radiance burst forth from his body. He traveled dozens of miles with each step. With every step he took, everything that stood in his way was turned into ashes. After an unknown period of time, the surrounding environment changed again. Lu Ming was back in the passageway. Congratulations on passing the first stage. A voice rang in Lu Ming's mind. After that, there was no more sound. This is only the first stage? It's really difficult. Lu Ming was secretly shocked. After entering this passage, there would be endless killing intent that would suddenly descend on them. Then they would enter the illusion and lose themselves in the killing. Initially, Lu Ming thought that this was already the second stage. He did not expect that it was only the first stage. The first stage was already so difficult. Who knew what they would face in the future? Lu Ming's eyes were filled with confidence and fighting spirit. He strode forward. The passage was very long and seemed to have no end. Lu Ming walked for half an hour and the passage in front suddenly became wide, like a stone room. The stone room was filled with dense and mysterious carvings. One could faintly feel the aura of the earth. In front of the stone room, there was a yellow light curtain blocking the way. On the walls, there is the Earth Essence Martial Technique, the Earth Aeon Technique. Only those who have successfully cultivated the Earth Aeon Technique can break through the light curtain. You can only pass this stage if you have successfully comprehended the Earth Aeon Technique on the walls. You only have half a year. The voice from before rang in Lu Ming's mind again. Martial skill of Earth Essence, Earth Origin Technique? To successfully cultivate it in half a year? Lu Ming's eyes lit up. The assessment this time was a martial arts technique of the creation of the earth. Furthermore, it would take half a year. Lu Ming was absolutely confident. Immediately, Lu Ming's gaze fell on the carvings on the wall and he began to comprehend them in detail. In Lu Ming's eyes, the carvings seemed to come to life. They were like tiny snakes slithering on the wall, turning into wonderful martial arts techniques. Earth Concept Martial Technique. How wonderful! As soon as he looked at it, Lu Ming felt that this martial arts technique of creation was extremely wonderful and mysterious. It seemed to contain the truth of heaven and earth. Lu Ming had previously cultivated the martial arts technique, Thunder God Strike, with the concept of thunder. The difficulty of cultivating the Thunder God Strike was already astonishingly high. It was 100 times more difficult than ordinary martial arts techniques. However, the difficulty level of the Earth Aeon technique was much higher than that of the Thunder God Strike. Lu Ming stood there and observed it carefully for 3 days, but he still could not find any clues. It was no wonder that he would be able to pass the test as long as he succeeded in cultivating it within half a year. The difficulty of cultivation was simply too great. In the hall, Earth 1, Gold 1, and the others watched quietly. I wonder if this kid can successfully comprehend it within half a year. Someone said. If you really need half a year to successfully comprehend it, then there's no hope for the later stages. Gold 1 said. That's right. Chapter 1294. 1294 Battle between martial techniques and concepts. It was almost exactly the same as the previous stone room. The walls of the stone chamber were filled with carvings. The difference was that these carvings were filled with the aura of the concept of fire. In front of him, there was also a fiery red light screen blocking his way. The martial arts technique of the creation of fire, the fire elemental technique, is on the walls. Only by successfully cultivating the fire elemental technique within half a year can you break through the light curtain and enter the next level. That voice rang in Lu Ming's mind again. This time, it's the martial arts technique of the creation of fire, the fire elemental technique. Could it be that it is based on the intent realm I have comprehended? I have comprehended 5 types of intent realm, so do I have to practice 5 types of intent realm martial arts techniques? Lu Ming could not help but guess in his heart. He looked at the light screen, then walked over, activated the Earth Aeon technique and punched it. After the violent fist force hit the light curtain, it did not move at all, not even a ripple could be seen. Then Lu Ming switched to the Thunder God Strike, the prison-suppressing heavenly technique, the 9 dragons heaven-stomping steps and so on. However, they were all useless. There was not a single ripple on the light screen. As expected, it was useless to try to be opportunistic. He still needed to master the fire elemental technique successfully before he could pass the test. Lu Ming did not think too much about it. He started to look at the engravings and started to understand the fire elemental technique. With his previous experience, Lu Ming got into the zone very quickly. The fire elemental technique was also more powerful than the Thunder God Strike, but the difficulty of cultivating it was also terrifying. Lu Ming carefully comprehended. Time passed. 2 months and 12 days later, Lu Ming's entire body was bathed in flames, like a god of fire. With a casual strike, the power of the concept of fire exploded to the extreme, unleashing a terrifying power. He had successfully cultivated the fire elemental technique. I've succeeded. I've successfully cultivated it again. Ah. It's still within 3 months. This time it only took 2 months and 12 days. I've saved 3 days compared to the Earth Aeon technique. There's hope. There's hope this time. This Lu Ming's comprehension is too strong. There's really hope this time. In the hall, Earth 1, Gold 1, and the others cheered in excitement. In the past, the fastest person to successfully cultivate a martial technique of creation took 3.5 months. However, Lu Ming only took 2.5 months for the first technique and 3 days for the second technique. He had surpassed everyone else in the past. The shorter the time, the greater the potential. Only then would he have a chance to pass the final trial. Boom. Lu Ming pointed his finger and cast the fire elemental technique. The concept of fire gathered at the tip of his finger and touched the fiery red light screen. The light screen shattered and disappeared. Lu Ming smiled and continued to walk forward. As Lu Ming had expected, they arrived at another stone room after a short walk. There were also carvings on the walls of the stone room, and at the end of the stone room, there was also a light screen. This time he needed to comprehend the martial technique of wind concept, the wind origin technique. Lu Ming did not want to waste any time. He immediately entered the state and began to comprehend. This time Lu Ming had used 2 days less. He only used 2 months and 10 days to successfully comprehend the wind element technique and pass this stage. Not long after, they arrived at the next stage. This time, it was the water elemental technique, a martial technique of the creation of water. This time the time was shortened by 2 days. He only used 2 months and 8 days to successfully cultivate and pass this stage. Then it was time for the 5th stage. He needed to cultivate the martial technique Thunder Origin technique, of the creation of thunder. Compared to Lu Ming, the Thunder Origin spell was much easier. This was because Lu Ming had cultivated the Thunder God Strike before and had more experience in cultivating martial arts techniques with the concept of thunder. Hence, it was easier for him to cultivate it. In the end, Lu Ming only used a total of 2 months to successfully cultivate the lightning elemental technique and pass this stage. Congratulations, you've passed the 2nd stage. When Lu Ming passed through the 5th light screen, a voice rang in his mind. From start to finish, Lu Ming used less than a year to pass the 2nd stage and cultivate 5 powerful martial arts techniques of creation. I've really made a profit. Even if I don't get the chaos scripture this time, I've still made a profit. Lu Ming's eyes were glowing. These 5 martial techniques of intent were priceless in the outside world. They were not comparable to techniques of intent like Thunder God Strike. Each of them was the best among the martial techniques of intent. If Lu Ming could cultivate the 5 types of martial arts techniques to the highest level, his combat strength would increase dramatically. Let's continue. I must get the chaos scripture. Lu Ming clenched his fists tightly. It was just a test, but he could obtain 5 such wonderful martial arts techniques of creation. The chaos scripture must be extremely amazing. Lu Ming's heart was burning with passion. He continued to walk forward. Not long after, the light in front of him brightened up and Lu Ming came to a fighting ring. The fighting stage was huge with a length and width of more than 100 miles. The battle platform, could it be a test of combat prowess? Lu Ming raised his eyebrows. Bus, bus, whoosh. When Lu Ming stepped onto the fighting ring, 5 figures suddenly condensed in front of him. The 5 figures were all tall and burly men, but their skin colors were different. Some were yellow, some were green, some were blue, and some were red. It was similar to Earth One whom Lu Ming had seen before. It seemed to be a puppet. In the last round, use the Earth Origin Technique, Thunder Origin Technique, Fire Origin Technique, Water Origin Technique, and Wind Origin Technique to defeat the 5 puppets. Any other martial techniques will be ineffective. The time limit is 2 years. A voice rang in Lu Ming's mind. For the last trial, he only had to defeat these 5 puppets within 2 years. Lu Ming just had a thought. Buzz. One of the 5 figures pounced toward Lu Ming. This figure was khaki-colored and was using the Earth Origin Technique. It threw a punch at Lu Ming and the essence of the earth filled the air. A powerful pressure was exerted on Lu Ming. The puppet's cultivation level was not weaker than Lu Ming's. With the addition of the Earth Aeon Technique, it was terrifyingly powerful. Boom. The vital essence in Lu Ming's body exploded and the Earth concept spread. He cast the Earth Aeon Technique and punched his opponent. When the 2 fists met, Lu Ming felt an earth-shattering force surging toward him. Lu Ming's body trembled and he could not help but retreat. Its mastery of the Earth Aeon Technique is far above mine. Lu Ming's eyes narrowed. Bang. The khaki-colored puppet stepped onto the fighting stage and charged toward Lu Ming. Its fist force was as heavy as a mountain and as heavy as the earth. Undefeatable. Lu Ming had a thought. In a situation where they had the same strength, Lu Ming's mastery of the Earth Aeon Technique was not as good as his opponent's. He was not his opponent's match at all. As for other martial skills, they would be ineffective. Brr, brr, roar. A dragon's roar came from within Lu Ming's body as the 9 streams of dragon energy exploded. The dragon power burst forth, and Lu Ming's strength increased dramatically. He cast the Earth Aeon Technique and threw a punch. However, the next moment, Lu Ming's expression changed. This was because the khaki-colored puppet's strength had also increased rapidly. It was not any weaker than Lu Ming's dragon power. In addition to the more powerful Earth Aeon Technique, the other party's strength still overwhelmed Lu Ming. Chapter 1295. 1295 Fusion of Martial Techniques and Concepts. Bang. The 2 fists collided and Lu Ming was still forced to retreat. Bloodline. Lu Ming's heart skipped a beat. His 3rd bloodline emerged and a surge of energy surged into his body, increasing his strength once again. However, as Lu Ming's strength increased, the khaki-colored puppet's strength would increase as well. Following that, Lu Ming cast the prison-suppressing heavenly art to increase its power. Correspondingly, the other party's strength also increased rapidly. It was useless. No matter how Lu Ming increased his strength, the other party would also increase his strength. It's indeed useless. In the end, we must use martial techniques of creation. Lu Ming sighed and put away his bloodline and dragon power. As expected, the other party's strength had weakened as well. His basic strength was still at the same level as Lu Ming's. Then I'll fight with martial arts techniques of creation. Lu Ming only used his essential core and cast the Earth Aeon Technique to fight the other party. Unfortunately, his opponent's martial arts technique of creation was more powerful than Lu Ming's. Lu Ming tried his best to resist, but he was still no match for his opponent. In less than 10 moves he was blasted off the fighting ring. The moment Lu Ming got off the fighting ring, the other party stopped attacking. This trial seems to be very difficult. Only 1 khaki-colored puppet has made a move. There are still 4 other puppets who haven't made a move. I wonder if the other 5 puppets will join forces. If they join forces, the difficulty will be even more terrifying. No wonder it took 2 years. Lu Ming was thinking quickly. It seems that I can only pass this stage by quickly improving the level of my martial arts techniques. Then let's continue the battle. Lu Ming's eyes were filled with fighting spirit. He took a step forward and returned to the fighting ring. The martial arts technique of creation that the other party used was exactly the same as his. The continuous battle would be of great help to Lu Ming's understanding of the martial arts technique of creation. Buzz. This time it wasn't the khaki-colored puppet that attacked. Instead, it was a fiery red puppet that attacked. It used the fire elemental technique and was filled with an explosive attack. Lu Ming also cast the fire elemental technique to fight it. The other party's fire elemental technique was obviously more powerful than Lu Ming's. Even if Lu Ming tried his best, it would be difficult for him to resist. How exquisite! So the fire elemental technique can be used in this way. As he fought, Lu Ming sensed the fire elemental technique cast by the other party. At the same time, it matched with his own cultivation and increased his understanding of the fire elemental technique. After more than 10 moves, Lu Ming was struck down from the fighting ring. However, Lu Ming was not discouraged. He went up to the fighting ring. This time it was a green puppet that attacked. The opponent used the wind elemental technique. Just like that, once Lu Ming was knocked off the fighting ring, he would immediately go up and fight with his opponent. As he fought, he comprehended martial arts techniques of creation, making rapid progress. Every time he would only stop devouring the rough stones to replenish his essential core when Lu Ming's essential core was exhausted. Cultivation knew no time and time flew by quickly. 1 month, 2 months, 3 months. In the blink of an eye, half a year had passed. In the past half a year, apart from recovering his essential core, Lu Ming had been fighting the 5 puppets. His understanding of the 5 martial arts techniques of creation had improved by leaps and bounds. Lu Ming had made major breakthroughs in all 5 types of martial arts techniques. He had entered the 3rd stage and his power had increased greatly. Boom. Lu Ming used the Earth Aeon technique to fight the khaki-colored puppet. Lu Ming's fist force was powerful and heavy, and the earth concept was integrated into it. Every punch seemed to be suppressing the opponent with the earth. The power was extremely shocking. The 2 fists collided, and the khaki-colored puppet's body was sent flying far away, falling at the edge of the fighting ring. Get down. Lu Ming charged toward the khaki-colored puppet. Buzz. However, at that moment, a green figure flashed. The green puppet pounced at Lu Ming like a bolt of lightning. With a wave of its hand, the wind element technique cut open the space and slashed at Lu Ming. At the same time, a blazing aura filled the air and a fiery red figure pounced at Lu Ming. Then it was the blue puppet and the purple puppet. The khaki-colored puppets rose as well. The 5 puppets pounced at Lu Ming. Indeed, as Lu Ming had guessed, the 5 puppets had joined forces. The combined might of the 5 puppets was shocking. Lu Ming was forced to retreat continuously. Most importantly, when Lu Ming cast one of the martial arts techniques of creation, he would be restrained by the corresponding puppet and would not be able to unleash his full power. Lu Ming could only constantly change the martial arts techniques of creation, casting 5 types of martial arts techniques in turns to block the opponent's attacks. However, it took time for the 5 intents to rotate. Even if it was only for a moment, it was still a flaw. Lu Ming was forced to retreat continuously and was thrown off the fighting ring after a few moves. The 5 puppets are too powerful and flawless when they join forces. I'm no match for them when I use only one martial technique of intent. If I can perfectly transform all 5 martial techniques of intent, there might be hope. Lu Ming pondered and then went up to the fighting ring. As soon as he stepped onto the fighting ring, the 5 puppets charged at Lu Ming. Lu Ming could only do his best to continuously switch between the 5 martial arts techniques of creation and fight the 5 puppets. In the beginning, Lu Ming was no match for him at all. This was because there would always be gaps in the transition between the 5 martial arts techniques of creation. It was not perfect and the opponent would seize the opportunity to defeat him. However, as time passed, Lu Ming became more and more skilled at switching between the 5 martial arts techniques of creation. A few months later, Lu Ming could easily switch between the 5 martial arts techniques of creation perfectly. He could cast any martial arts technique of creation with ease. He could even separate his left and right hands to cast different martial arts techniques of creation. At this point, Lu Ming had finally blocked the attacks of the 5 puppets. Fuse. However, at this moment, the khaki-colored puppet spoke indifferently. Then the 5 puppets' figures changed and 5 martial arts techniques of intent were blasted out. They fused together and formed a chaotic color that blasted toward Lu Ming. The 5 martial arts techniques of creation were actually fused together, and their power increased crazily. With just one move, Lu Ming was sent flying out of the arena. No way. You can play like this. Lu Ming screamed in his heart. The difficulty of this trial was simply too high. The techniques of the 5 puppets were becoming more and more powerful, and now they were actually able to fuse 5 martial techniques of intent together. Fusion? Right, fusion. Lu Ming's eyes suddenly lit up. Could this be the prerequisite for cultivating chaos will? Only by fusing 5 martial techniques of intent together would one be qualified to cultivate chaos intent. Lu Ming could not help but guess. These checkpoints were not only tests but also tempering. Only those who could break through under such training could walk to the end and successfully cultivate the chaos will. The chaos will was the king of the will between heaven and earth. It was absolutely terrifying. However, it was not hard to imagine that the difficulty of cultivating it was absolutely terrifying. The conditions for cultivating it were also extremely harsh. Not everyone could successfully cultivate it. Only when certain conditions were met would one be able to successfully cultivate it. The tests along the way were probably to prepare for the cultivation of the chaos will. If he could not pass all the tests along the way, he would not be qualified to cultivate the chaos scripture, nor would he be able to successfully cultivate the chaos will. At the thought of this, Lu Ming's eyes were filled with fighting spirit again. Come on. I don't believe that I can't fuse 5 martial techniques of creation. Lu Ming hollered and rushed up to the fighting ring to fight the 5 puppets. Chapter 1296. 1296 Success, Primal Chaos Emperor. In the main hall, Earth 1, Gold 1, and the others stared at the ball and observed it carefully. He's at the last stage. I wonder if he can succeed. Gold 1 sighed, his eyes full of hope but also a little worry. The last stage is the key. In history there have been people who have reached this stage but they all failed at the last step. If they can't merge the 5 martial techniques of intent into one, it's impossible to successfully cultivate the chaos intent. Earth 1 said. This kid's results are the best in history. I hope he can succeed. A fiery red figure spoke. I hope so. The others sighed. On the fighting ring, Lu Ming had just gone up when he was blasted down. Again? Lu Ming was not discouraged at all. He rushed up to the fighting ring again. The 5 puppets attacked at the same time. They fused 5 wills and attacked Lu Ming. Lu Ming's spiritual senses were constantly scanning how the 5 puppets had integrated the 5 martial arts techniques of the 5 concepts. He was also constantly analyzing in his mind. The power of the fusion of 5 martial arts techniques of intent was too strong. In less than 2 moves, Lu Ming was blasted out of the fighting ring and spat out a mouthful of blood. Again? Again? Lu Ming was not discouraged. He went up to the fighting ring and continued to fight, regardless of his injuries. Time passed day by day. In the beginning, Lu Ming could only block 1 or 2 moves. As time went on, the number of moves he could block increased and the time he could last grew longer. After another half a year, Lu Ming could already withstand more than 10 moves. At this point, there were still 9 months to go before the 2 years were up. However, Lu Ming had yet to comprehend the fusion of 5 martial arts techniques of creation. Each of the 5 martial techniques had its own system. Each of them was a profound exploration of their own martial techniques. They were all unique. It was too difficult to merge them into one. It seems that when I fused the 5 kinds of will before, I only had a superficial fusion. It was not a true and complete fusion. If it was a complete fusion, the 5 kinds of will would not be separated, but would become a new kind of will. After this period of time, Lu Ming also understood that his so-called fusion of the 5 concepts in the past was only a superficial fusion. He was still a long way from a complete fusion. The fusion of 5 martial techniques of intent realm still needs to start from the fusion of intent realm. Lu Ming was analyzing all kinds of possibilities in his mind. He then went up to the fighting ring to verify his thoughts. Boom, boom, boom. On the fighting ring, Lu Ming's 5-colored conception surrounded him and he instantly used 5 kinds of conception martial arts techniques: flame, thunder, and wind. It whistled through the fighting ring and blasted towards the 5 puppets. However, under the fusion of the 5 martial arts techniques of the 5 puppets, the powerful attack instantly fell apart. It was completely outmatched. It was like steel striking tofu. Continue. Lu Ming continuously struck out 5 types of martial arts techniques of creation, trying to merge them. Yes, this is the feeling. As long as we continue down this path, we will eventually succeed. Although he still failed, Lu Ming's eyes lit up. He finally felt that he had found the right direction. As long as he found the right direction, he would eventually succeed. The great battle continued. Half a month later, Lu Ming threw out a series of punches. This time, only 4 martial arts techniques of intent were unleashed. It was not that he was short of one, but that Lu Ming had successfully fused 2 of them. Haha, I finally succeeded in the first step. Lu Ming was overjoyed. After such a long time he had finally taken the first step. If he fused 2, then fusing 3, 4, or even 5 would be a matter of time. Continue. Lu Ming was excited and continued to fight. In the hall, Earth 1, Gold 1, and the others were so excited that they almost jumped up. He succeeded. He successfully fused 2. He's not far from success. Number 1 in history. In the past, no one has ever been able to reach this stage. There's hope. The inheritance of venerable sovereigns, is there finally a successor? Gold 1 and the others laughed. They were extremely happy and excited. In the beginning it would be relatively easy to merge the 2. However, it would become more and more difficult to merge the 3, 4, and 5 types. However, Lu Ming had found the right direction. He had a clear goal. He was improving at every moment and was approaching his goal. Time passed day by day, 1 month. It was getting closer and closer to the 2 years. Lu Ming had also made a major breakthrough. He had successfully fused 3 types and then 4 types. When there was still a month left until the 2 years were up, Lu Ming had finally successfully fused 5 types of martial arts techniques of creation into 1 martial arts technique of creation. Boom. Primal chaos energy filled the air, and the terrifying power scattered the attacks of the 5 puppets, and the powerful energy continued to blast out. Bang, bang, bang. The 5 puppets were sent flying by Lu Ming and fell outside the fighting ring. Although the 5 puppets had also fused 5 martial arts techniques of creation, they were, after all, separated by 5 people. Lu Ming was alone, so the fusion was purer and the power was greater. Naturally, the combat power he unleashed was stronger. He succeeded. Let's go and take a look. Earth 1, Gold 1, and the rest roared excitedly. Then their figures moved and they all disappeared from the hall. The next moment, the space on the battle stage where Lu Ming was at cracked open and Earth 1 and the rest stepped out. Senior Earth 1. Lu Ming was slightly stunned when he saw Earth 1. He then cupped his fists and saluted, looking at Gold 1 and the rest. Lu Ming, there's no need to be so polite. Congratulations on passing all the levels and gaining the right to cultivate the Chaos Scripture. Let me introduce you. This is Gold 1, Thunder 1. Earth 1 laughed heartily and was extremely excited. He introduced Gold 1 and the rest to Lu Ming. Lu Ming greets all the seniors. Although he knew that Gold 1 and the rest were puppets, Lu Ming still bowed respectfully. You're welcome. Once you've successfully cultivated the Chaos Scripture, you'll be the successor of the venerable sovereigns and our master. Gold 1 laughed so hard that he could not close his mouth. Venerable sovereign. Lu Ming was surprised. Lu Ming, let me make it clear to you. This is the Chaos Hall of the Primordial Chaos Sect. The Hall Master is the Chaos the Arch. The Chaos the Arch is one of the most powerful experts in the Primordial Chaos Sect. His combat strength is unparalleled and he dominates the world. He is the strongest expert in the world. As long as you successfully cultivate the Chaos Scripture, you'll be the successor of the Chaos the Arch. Naturally, you'll also be our master. Tui explained. The Primal Chaos Hall is part of the Primordial Chaos Sect. Senior, may I know if there's a space-time spiritual hall in the Primordial Chaos Sect? Lu Ming asked curiously. You know about the Time and Space Spiritual Hall? The Time and Space Spiritual Hall is one of the 9 halls of Hunyuan Sect. The Hall Master of the Time and Space Spiritual Hall is the Time and Space Spiritual Rat, one of the top 10 war beasts. It is also a top expert in the world, but it is still slightly inferior to the Chaos Supreme Emperor. Earth 1 explained. When he spoke of the Chaos the Arch, his face was filled with pride. The Chaos the Arch is so powerful. He's even stronger than the top 10 war beasts. Lu Ming was secretly shocked. He was looking forward to the Chaos Scripture even more. Chapter 1297. 1297 Chaos Concept, complete. Lu Ming, the Chaos Scripture is in there. You can go in. As long as you successfully cultivate the Chaos Scripture, you can leave this place. However, you've already successfully fused 5 martial arts techniques of intent. I believe that cultivating the Chaos Scripture shouldn't be too difficult. Tui Dao pointed to a stone door behind the fighting ring. Many thanks to all the seniors. Lu Ming cupped his fists and walked towards the stone door. The stone door was closed. However, after Lu Ming walked in, the stone door opened automatically. Behind the stone door it was misty and blurry. Lu Ming stepped in without hesitation. As soon as Lu Ming walked through the stone door, it closed on its own. Behind the stone door was a huge stone room. Above the stone room, there was a figure sitting cross-legged in the air. This figure was not very burly or tall, but it gave people the feeling that it was as tall as the sky. It was the most burly figure in the world, able to support the sky and earth. The aura was so mysterious that it was more unfathomable than any other expert that Lu Ming had encountered in the past. Lu Ming felt as if he was facing the entire universe when he faced this figure. Back then, when Lu Ming was faced with the saint heart left behind by the mysterious sky saint, he was already shocked by the vast aura of the other party. However, he now felt that the mysterious sky saint was like an ant or a speck of dust in front of this figure. At this moment, Lu Ming felt that he had stopped breathing. This figure was completely shrouded in the light of chaos. Its appearance could not be seen clearly, only a blurry figure. Could this be the primal Chaos Emperor? Lu Ming thought to himself. He was too powerful. The realm of the Chaos the Arch had reached a level that Lu Ming could not imagine. However, such an expert had already fallen. Lu Ming had heard from 2E that the Chaos the Arch had fallen. That was why he was looking for an inheritor. How could such a powerful existence fall? What kind of enemy was he facing? Lu Ming could not imagine it. Could it be that this figure before him was just a wisp of the primal Chaos Emperor's imprint? Lu Ming secretly guessed. I am the Chaos Scripture. Suddenly the figure spoke. His voice was calm and soothing to the ears. The Chaos Scripture? This figure is the Chaos Scripture? Lu Ming was stunned. He had never expected that the Chaos Scripture would actually take the form of a human and emit a vast and unpredictable aura. I was left behind by the primal Chaos Emperor to wait for his successor. After so many years, someone has finally made it here. My mission is complete. The Chaos Scripture opened its mouth. After it finished speaking, it turned into a ray of light and flew toward the area between Lu Ming's eyebrows. It entered the area between his eyebrows. The next moment, Lu Ming felt that there was a lot of information in his mind. The Chaos Scripture, the cultivation method of the Chaos Will, the Chaos Domain, and even the cultivation method of the Chaos Law, and the corresponding martial techniques of will and domain. Lu Ming closed his eyes and observed carefully. It's too mysterious, it's really too mysterious. The more he read, the more excited Lu Ming was. No, I can't see the rest now. I won't understand it even if I see it. Now, I need to turn my 5 kinds of intent into chaos intent. Lu Ming gathered his thoughts and began to read the beginning of the Chaos Scripture, which was also the most basic part, to cultivate the chaos concept. The Chaos Will was to transform 5 or more wills of completely different attributes into the Chaos Will. The Chaos Will was extremely mysterious. It was the beginning of all wills in the world. After successfully cultivating the Chaos Will, it could even transform into other wills. For example, after successfully cultivating the Chaos Intent, one could turn it into Slaughter Intent, Destruction Intent, Blood Intent, Thunder Intent, and so on. Only the Chaos Intent could not convert the strongest intent, such as Time Intent and Space Intent. After Lu Ming read through the Chaos Scripture in detail, he sat cross-legged and began to cultivate. Previously, Lu Ming had already fused 5 types of martial arts techniques into one. Therefore, it was not difficult for him to cultivate the Chaos Scripture now. It could be said that the previous trials and tests had already paved the way for him to cultivate the Chaos Will. 3 days later, the 5-colored will surrounded Lu Ming and it was getting a little heated. 7 days later, the colors of the 5-colored essence realm had become a little blurry. Half a month later, the 5 intents were already completely intertwined together, and the original color could no longer be seen. 2 months later, Lu Ming's surroundings were misty and chaotic. The original 5 concepts disappeared and were replaced by an even more mysterious and supreme concept that bloomed on Lu Ming's body. Lu Ming had finally succeeded in cultivating the chaos concept, the emperor of the concept. Moreover, it was also a Class 4 grand completion. Buzz. Lu Ming stretched out a finger that was wrapped in the chaos concept. He pointed at the space and the space rippled like water. It should be known that this was the heaven realm, and the space was very stable, far more stable than the divine ruins continents. Previously, Lu Ming could not tear the space even when he used his full strength. But now, with just a light touch, the space rippled. The power is too shocking. With my current cultivation and chaos will, I should be able to fight against an emperor, right? He can even suppress emperors. Lu Ming made a guess. There was a shocking fluctuation in his eyes. It was confidence, an extremely strong confidence. Lu Ming's current cultivation was only at the peak of the 9th level of the spiritual god realm, but he was confident that he could fight an emperor, or even suppress one. If others were to know about this, they would probably laugh at Lu Ming for being a lunatic. However, Lu Ming had this feeling now. In the past he had to rely on the Thunder Cauldron or even the help of Dandan, Bubbles and the rest to fight against the emperor. However, now Lu Ming was confident that he could suppress the emperor without the help of the Thunder Cauldron, Dandan, Bubbles and the rest. I wonder how little Qing is doing? I've been here for more than 3 years, but only a while has passed in the outside world. Little official, you're in my mountain and river diagram. I wonder if your time is in sync with mine? Lu Ming thought to himself. Then, the space between his eyebrows glowed and the mountain and river diagram appeared. Lu Ming moved and appeared inside the mountain and river diagram. Lu Ming. As soon as Lu Ming entered the mountain and river diagram, Xian Yanqing appeared in front of him, glaring at him with resentment. Lu Ming, what happened? Why haven't you come to see me in 3 years? Xian Yanqing glared at Lu Ming with hatred, but deep in his eyes, there was a strong sense of longing. More than 3 years. Is the time inside the mountain and river diagram the same as mine? Lu Ming's heart stirred. Little Qing, it's like this. Lu Ming explained the situation in detail. It's actually like this. After hearing this, Xian Yanqing was amazed. Little Qing, your cultivation has improved a lot. Lu Ming scanned with his spiritual senses and discovered that Xian Yanqing's cultivation had already reached the peak of the 9th level of the spiritual god realm. Like Lu Ming, he was only one step away from the great circle of the spiritual god realm. Of course. I'm bored by myself, so I've been training hard. In 3 years I've naturally made rapid progress. Xian Yanqing said. I'm sorry, little Qing. The next moment, Lu Ming hugged Xian Yanqing tightly in his arms. Chapter 1298. 1298 Chapter 1298 Reward. Speaking of which, the two of them really hadn't seen each other for more than 3 years. Naturally, they missed each other and snuggled up to each other, chatting. Half a day later, a voice was heard in Lu Ming's ears. Lu Ming, you will be teleported back to your original place in half a month. This was Earth One's voice. In half a month. Lu Ming was stunned. Initially, he wanted to cultivate here for a longer period of time. It was because a few years of cultivation here would only be a short time in the outside world. It would be a pity to miss such a good place. But now, Earth One had transmitted a message that there was only half a month left. Lu Ming told Xian Yanqing about this and exited the mountain and river diagram. Earth One's figure was nowhere to be seen in the huge stone chamber. Earth One must have sensed something and sent him a voice transmission. Senior Earth One, why is it only half a month? Lu Ming's voice was heard. He knew that Earth One should be able to hear him. The time here is accelerated extremely fast, but to maintain the time acceleration, it requires a huge amount of energy. Every time, only when the qualified participants come here will the time acceleration be activated. Now, you have successfully cultivated the chaos will, so the time acceleration here naturally has to stop. Otherwise, there won't be so much energy consumption. Earth One's voice was heard. Lu Ming nodded. Although he felt that it was a pity, it was normal. Time acceleration was too heaven-defying, so it naturally couldn't be maintained indefinitely. It required a terrifying amount of energy. If it could be easily maintained, then it would be too terrifying. Cultivating in there for thousands of years was only equivalent to how much time had passed in the outside world. If they let a group of people in to cultivate, wouldn't that be heaven-defying? That was impossible. Even with the Primal Chaos Palace's foundation, they wouldn't be able to maintain it for long. Senior, I'll leave in half a month. Lu Ming said. All right. Earth One's voice was heard. Next, I'll increase my cultivation. Lu Ming's gaze flickered. Now, his intent had already transformed into chaos intent and was at the full circle of level 4. Lu Ming's cultivation level could also be raised to the perfected spiritual god realm. Half a month's time was enough for Lu Ming to devour and refine the rough stone to improve his cultivation. With a wave of his hand, a large pile of raw gemstones appeared. The bloodline of the 9 dragons appeared. With one gulp, 10 million raw gemstones were devoured and refined. A huge number of raw gemstones were being refined and converted into essential core, helping Lu Ming to break through to the next realm. After refining 10 million, he swallowed another 10 million. 10 million and 10 million. In the blink of an eye, 10 days had passed. Lu Ming had devoured and refined a total of 100 million raw gemstones. Such an astonishing amount of raw gemstones transformed into an astonishing amount of true essence and began to break through. Boom. The aura in Lu Ming's body surged. The spiritual god in his dantian bloomed with multicolored light and became solid and heavy, just like a real person. Lu Ming's cultivation had also broken through from the peak of the 9th level spiritual god realm to the perfected spiritual god realm. Great circle of the spiritual god realm. Lu Ming had finally cultivated to the great circle of the spiritual god realm. The next step would be to start breaking through to the emperor realm. Everything was in preparation for the emperor. In the process of breaking through to the emperor realm, one could comprehend the embryonic form of a domain and become a supreme. The great circle of the spiritual god realm was already at the peak of the 3 spiritual god realms. Lu Ming could feel the extremely rich vital essence in his body. He had a confident smile on his face. Now, how strong was his combat strength? Lu Ming could not figure it out and was very curious. Time to go out. Lu Ming smiled and walked towards the door of the stone room. The stone door opened automatically and Lu Ming walked out. Outside he saw the same fighting ring. Earth 1, Gold 1, and the others were still on the fighting ring. Seeing Lu Ming come out, Earth 1, Gold 1, and the rest smiled and suddenly bowed to Lu Ming, calling out in unison, "This subordinate greets the young master." Lu Ming was stunned. He hurriedly helped Earth 1 and the rest up and said, "Seniors, what are you all doing? Please get up. Young master, you've obtained the inheritance of the Chaos Emperor and successfully cultivated the Chaos Will. You're our young master." Tui spoke and insisted on kowtowing to Lu Ming. What was the cultivation base of Earth 1 and the rest? Lu Ming could not stop them at all. He could only let them bow down to him. After paying their respects, Earth 1 and the rest stood up. "Seniors, are you all the only ones left in the Primal Chaos Hall?" Lu Ming asked curiously. "Sai, all the experts of the Primal Chaos Palace were killed in the battle that year. We are the only puppets left, but there aren't many of us left." Earth 1 sighed. "Then, can you all come out with me?" Lu Ming asked with anticipation in his eyes. The cultivation of Earth 1 and the others was unfathomable. If they could go out with him, it would be easy to kill DE and even wipe out the continent group of the Divine Ruins. Unfortunately, Lu Ming was disappointed. "We can't." Earth 1, Gold 1 and the rest shook their heads. "Young master," the venerable sovereign left behind his last words. "We can only leave if the inheritor of the venerable sovereign has reached the Saint Realm. Before that, we can't leave and can't help you much," Tui explained. Lu Ming was greatly disappointed. It seemed that the Chaos the Arch was afraid that his inheritor would rely too much on the power of Tui and the others and lose the will to improve. Thus he set such a rule. Seeing Lu Ming's look of disappointment, Earth 1 muttered to himself for a moment and said, "Young master, it's not that there's no reward at all. Because you performed exceptionally well during the test, you'll be rewarded." With that said, Earth 1 waved his hand, and a figure appeared beside him. It was a figure that was similar to Tuyi's, also in a khaki color. One look and one could tell that it was a puppet. "Young master, this puppet's name is Tu Qian. It has the strength of a peak lever 2 martial royal realm expert. It can follow you out temporarily and help you," Earth 1 said. "Peak lever 2 martial royal realm." Lu Ming's eyes lit up. "That's fine. A peak lever 2 martial royal realm expert would be the strongest in the divine wilderness continent, comparable to DE. "Greetings, young master." Tu Qian bowed to Lu Ming. "All right, Tu Qian, you will temporarily enter the treasure." Lu Ming summoned the mountain and river diagram and kept Tu Qian in it. Buzz. At this moment, a token flew over and suspended above Lu Ming's head. It was the primordial chaos token. "Young master, you have to keep this primordial chaos token well. In the future, you might be able to compete for the throne of the primordial chaos sect's successor," Earth 1 said. "Hanyuan sect's successor?" Lu Ming was surprised. "That's right. Anyone who obtains a primordial chaos token will have a great opportunity in the future to compete for the position of the successor of the primordial chaos sect and have the chance to inherit the sect. At that time, not only the primal chaos hall, but the other 8 halls will have to listen to the orders of the successor of the primordial chaos sect," Tui explained. Lu Ming was secretly shocked. He did not expect the primordial chaos token to have such a use. Lu Ming hurriedly put away the primordial chaos token. Young master will send you back. Earth One Dao. Then he joined hands with Gold One and the rest to open a void channel. Lu Ming felt his body tighten and his vision turned black. He was plunged into darkness. After an unknown period of time, there was a bright light. At the same time, Lu Ming heard a loud voice. It was Danden's voice. Chapter 1299. 1299 Chapter 1299 One Punch One Kill. Lu Ming, that guy is really disloyal. He can't win and left us behind to run away. As soon as Lu Ming appeared, he heard Danden shouting as well as a rumbling sound. But the next moment all the sounds disappeared. Lu Ming stood in the void. Danden, Bubbles, Haiyu, Supreme Flood Dragon and the others all looked at him. They were still in the ancient city where they had fought with Haiyu and the others. Lu Ming, you didn't leave. I thought you had left us behind and took the opportunity to escape. Danden shouted and ran toward Lu Ming. Chirping. The bubble cried out and its body glowed. It flashed in the air and appeared on Lu Ming's shoulder in the next moment. Bus, whoosh. Figures flickered. Haiyu, Supreme Flood Dragon, and the others surrounded Lu Ming. Lu Ming, I told you that you can't run away. Hand over the cultivation method for the pure spirit body. Haiyu shouted coldly. He was holding an Emperor's spiritual weapon battle axe, and his aura was terrifying. The cultivation method of a pure spirit body belongs to the sea demon race. Let's go, said the Flood Dragon Sovereign. The dragon vein sword floated above his head, and sword chi seeped out of it, cutting open the space. Danden, how long have I been away? Lu Ming could not be bothered with Haiyu, the Flood Dragon Sovereign, and the others. He turned to ask Danden. Not long, just a dozen breaths, but do you know how dangerous that was? Fortunately, I have many tricks up my sleeve and managed to escape with my life. Otherwise, I would have died long ago. Danden shouted. Only a dozen breaths. Lu Ming was secretly shocked. Even though he knew that time was accelerated in the Primal Chaos Palace and that a few years in the Primal Chaos Palace was only a few moments in the outside world, he still felt that it was unbelievable to experience it for himself. In just a dozen breaths, his strength had undergone a tremendous change. You dare to ignore us? You're looking for death. Seeing that Lu Ming was ignoring them, Haiyu's eyes turned cold. He held the battle axe and swung it at Lu Ming. The power of this axe had completely reached the level of an emperor. It was terrifyingly strong. Danden, Bubble, follow me. Lu Ming instructed. Then, his figure emitted the aura of the concept of wind. Chaos intent could transform into other intents at will. Wind elemental technique. Lu Ming's figure swayed slightly. His body was like a phantom. He dodged Haiyu's axe in a flash and headed toward the other supreme beings behind Haiyu. The wind elemental technique was a martial technique of creation that focused on movement techniques. When performed, one's body would become ethereal and traceless. After avoiding Haiyu's attack, Lu Ming appeared in front of the other supreme martial artists from the sea-suppressing marshal's residence. Kill? Lu Ming hollered as the essential core in his body burst out. He activated the prison-suppressing heaven technique and threw a punch. Attack together. One of the supreme beings roared. He was shocked by the power of Lu Ming's punch and immediately used the fusion of blood meridians to attack Lu Ming. Bang. Lu Ming threw a punch and the supreme being's bloodline was scattered. His true form appeared with a horrified expression on his face. Then his body split into pieces and exploded in the air. Heavens. He killed a supreme martial artist with one punch. In the distance, the other spectators were almost scared to death as they started to shout incoherently. It was too shocking and too terrifying. Killing a supreme martial artist with a single punch, what kind of battle prowess did this require? Could it be that Lu Ming was an emperor? Not good, quickly retreat. When the other supreme martial artists saw this, they were simply scared out of their wits. They frantically shouted and retreated. You can't leave. Lu Ming's eyes were like lightning, emitting a cold killing intent. Lu Ming activated the wind elemental technique and moved as fast as lightning. He appeared in front of another supreme being in an instant and threw a punch. Ah! A shrill scream was heard. Although the supreme being tried his best to block the attack, it was still useless. Under Lu Ming's punch, all his defenses were as fragile as tofu. Lu Ming destroyed them as easily as breaking dry weeds and smashing rotten wood. He was killed in the air. The second one. Lu Ming muttered and then charged towards the third person. Lu Ming did not use the chaos will. However, his current cultivation had already broken through to the perfected spiritual god realm. His combat strength had improved greatly. Killing these ordinary supremes was as easy as killing chickens and dogs. Boom. Boom. Lu Ming's figure flickered continuously as he swung his fists. Every punch killed a supreme being. This scene was too terrifying, causing the surrounding people to feel a chill. This was a supreme martial artist. Even in the Divine Ruins continent, he was an expert and high and mighty. But now he was like a fragile chick that was killed by Lu Ming without any power to fight back. Beast, don't go. Fight me. Haiyu roared. His eyes were red. These were the supreme martial artists of the sea-suppressing marshal's mansion. His heart was bleeding after seeing so many of them being killed. He controlled the Emperor's spiritual weapon to slash at Lu Ming continuously, but Lu Ming's figure flashed. He did not fight Haiyu head-on at all. Instead, he avoided Haiyu and focused on killing the ordinary supreme beings. Boom. Another punch and another supreme martial artist was killed. Lu Ming had already killed 5 of the supreme beings that Haiyu had brought with him. In addition to the ones that had been killed earlier, there were more than 5 of them. How did this happen? Hai Tian, who was watching the battle from a distance, was in disbelief. He rubbed his eyes hard, hoping that all this was fake. Lu Ming, I didn't expect that your cultivation would suddenly improve so much after not seeing you for a while. You've reached the perfected spiritual god realm. Dandan stood on Lu Ming's shoulder and laughed heartily. She felt extremely carefree and proud. It's your turn. Lu Ming muttered as he looked at the supreme flood dragon and the other sea demons. Retreat, retreat, follow behind me. The flood dragon sovereign's expression changed. The sword chi from the dragon vein sword soared into the sky as he stared at Lu Ming. However, Lu Ming cast the wind element technique, and his figure was like a phantom, untraceable. With a few flashes, he dodged the flood dragon sovereign and attacked the other sea demon sovereigns. Join forces. Let's gather together and join forces. One of the sea demons roared. The other sea demon supreme beings gathered together, hoping to join forces to fight against Lu Ming. It was a pity that Lu Ming's current combat strength had far surpassed them. Boom. The fist force crushed down, breaking through everything. A phantom of the prison-suppressing steel pressed down on the body of a supreme sea demon. The supreme sea demon screamed as his body was pierced through, and he died on the spot. Lu Ming was like an invincible god of war, invincible in every battle. Roar. The 9 dragons appeared above Lu Ming's head. Lu Ming transformed into 9 dragons. At the same time, his third bloodline appeared, and its power was even more shocking. The dragon claws continued to slash out, tearing through everything and killing several of the supreme sea demons. In just the space of a few breaths, 4 of the supreme sea demons had been killed. Join forces to kill him. Haiyu arrived with his battle axe. Kill? The flood dragon sovereign also roared in anger and charged towards Lu Ming with killing intent. The 2 of them joined forces to surround Lu Ming and attack him. It's time to settle the score with you guys. At this moment, Lu Ming did not dodge. Instead, he looked coldly at Haiyu and the flood dragon sovereign. Chapter 1300. 1300 Killing the Flood Dragon Sovereign. Bus, bus, whoosh. Then the dragon claw struck out continuously. The attack used by each dragon claw was different. There was a dragon claw that shone with an earthy yellow light. It was the earth element technique. A dragon claw suffused with lightning transformed into a long spear. That was the lightning origin technique. In addition, there were also fire elemental techniques, wind elemental techniques and water elemental techniques. In the test of the Chaos Palace, Lu Ming was able to merge 5 martial arts techniques of creation into one. It was easy for him to cast 5 martial arts techniques of creation at the same time. The 9 dragon claws clawed at Haiyu and the flood dragon sovereign. Die. Die. Haiyu shouted coldly as he tried his best to activate his battle axe. His eyes were ferocious. At the same time, the flood dragon sovereign was also in a similar state, his killing intent cold. Lu Ming actually did not escape and wanted to fight with them head-on. This was exactly what they wanted. They were overjoyed. They wanted to get rid of Lu Ming in one go. What is Lu Ming doing? He's looking for death. That's not wise. The people who were watching the battle from afar also exclaimed when they saw this scene. Lu Ming's combat strength was strong, but that was only for ordinary Supremes. Hai Yu and the Flood Dragon Supreme were the top Supremes, and their combat strength was already terrifying enough. It would not be too difficult for them to kill an ordinary Supreme. Moreover, they had Emperor spiritual weapons. With them, their combat strength could definitely fight against an ordinary Emperor. If Lu Ming was not courting death by fighting head-on with them, what was he? Boom, boom, boom. Lu Ming's attack finally collided with Hai Yu's and the Supreme Flood Dragon's attacks. At this moment, a violent force swept across tens of thousands of miles. In the ancient city below, countless buildings collapsed and turned into ashes. Not good, quickly retreat. The people who were watching the battle from afar all retreated frantically, afraid of being swept in. Oh my God, look! Lu Ming has the upper hand. Someone cried out in alarm as they retreated. Everyone looked over and saw two figures rapidly retreating. The retreating figures were actually the Flood Dragon Sovereign and Hai Yu. How was this possible? Hai Yu and the Flood Dragon Sovereign were not Lu Ming's match and were forced to retreat even though they had both wielded Emperor spiritual weapons. If they hadn't seen it with their own eyes, they wouldn't have believed it. Impossible. How did this happen? Hai Yu and the Flood Dragon Sovereign also roared in disbelief. The two of them found it hard to believe. How could Lu Ming be so powerful? A while ago, Lu Ming was not their match at all. He was completely suppressed by them. Even with the two pets, he was far from being their match. However, Lu Ming had only disappeared for a short while. When he reappeared, his combat strength had increased sharply and he could easily kill ordinary supreme beings. Now, he could actually defeat them without relying on his pets or weapons. What was going on? Could it be that Lu Ming had been hiding his ability all along? Hai Yu, Supreme Flood Dragon, and the others felt that their brains were unable to process this. He must have used some kind of secret technique to increase his combat strength. If we join forces, he won't be able to hold on for long. Hai Yu roared at the Flood Dragon Supreme. Kill? Kill? Then Hai Yu and the Flood Dragon Sovereign joined forces and attacked Lu Ming. Is that so? A cold smile appeared in Lu Ming's eyes. The lightning cauldron appeared above his head and he threw it at Hai Yu, while he himself attacked the Flood Dragon Sovereign. Buzz. This time Lu Ming only used one claw. However, this claw was a fusion of 5 martial arts techniques of creation. When the 5 martial techniques of creation were combined, the power increased dramatically. The dragon claw collided with the dragon vein sword of the Flood Dragon Sovereign. Clang. The dragon vein sword trembled violently, and the sword chi dispersed. It then flew far away. Not good. The Flood Dragon Sovereign's expression changed drastically as he retreated. However, it was already too late. Lu Ming's attack had arrived. It was another claw attack, and it was still the fusion of 5 martial techniques of creation. The Flood Dragon Sovereign also extended his dragon claw to block with all his might. However, the instant his dragon claw came into contact with Lu Ming's, it exploded. Piu Chi, Lu Ming's dragon claw didn't stop and pierced through his body. Roar. The Flood Dragon Sovereign let out a violent roar, his eyes filled with endless fear. He wanted to struggle and escape, but the other claws of the 9 dragons had already arrived. The dragon claws were imbued with the prison-suppressing heavenly art as they smashed into the head of the Flood Dragon Sovereign. Bang, bang, bang. With 7 to 8 consecutive explosions, the head of the Flood Dragon Sovereign was pierced through and exploded. The Flood Dragon Sovereign had fallen. The Supreme Being, who had 90% of the true dragon's bloodline, was still killed by Lu Ming despite controlling the Emperor's spiritual weapon. If I were to use my primal chaos intent, it would be much easier to kill Supreme Flood Dragon. Lu Ming had a thought in his mind. Lu Ming did not cast the chaos concept during the process. At most, he transformed the chaos concept into the concept of thunder and wind. The chaos will was Lu Ming's trump card. He would not use it unless it was a critical moment. Not good. On the other side, after Hai Yu and the Thunder Cauldron exchanged a blow, he saw the scene of the Flood Dragon Sovereign being killed. He was so scared that he almost peed his pants. At this moment, there was only one thought in his mind, and that was to run. Run as far away as possible from Lu Ming. Hai Yu turned around and ran. He flew toward the exit of the ancient city. Big brother, take me with you." In the distance, Hai Tian shouted in fear. However, Hai Yu was already scared out of his wits. At this moment he only wanted to save his life. He didn't care about the sky and sea. He pretended not to hear anything and ran with his head down. "Big brother?" Hai Tian roared in despair. Buzz. Lu Ming transformed back into his human form. He took a step forward and appeared beside Hai Tian, causing him to scream in fear. Lu Ming, what are you trying to do? My father is the sea-suppressing marshal. You can't kill me. If you kill me, you'll also die." Hai Tian shouted. He was still thinking of threatening Lu Ming at this moment. Whoosh. Lu Ming waved his hand and a ray of spear radiance shot out. It pierced through Hai Tian's dantian and shattered his spiritual god. You. Hai Tian's eyes widened and he glared at Lu Ming. He did not expect Lu Ming to be so straightforward. He did not say a word and killed him in one move. With a strong unwillingness, the life in Hai Tian's eyes disappeared. The sea demons and the remaining supreme martial artists in the sea-suppressing marshal's mansion had already fled for their lives. Lu Ming glanced in the direction that Hai Yu had fled in. He was not in a hurry to give chase. Instead, he released his essential core and formed a powerful suction force, attracting all the corpses of the supreme beings. The mountain and river diagram flew out from Lu Ming's glabella and collected all the corpses of the supreme martial artists. The supreme being's corpse contained blood essence. Lu Ming still needed the blood essence to upgrade the bloodline level of the prison-suppressing steel. He could not waste it. After putting away the supreme being's corpse, Lu Ming had an idea and entered the mountain and river diagram. Within the mountain and river diagram, there was a mountain peak filled with the corpses of supreme martial artists. Xian Yinqing and Supreme Thunder Rhinoceros stood at the side, dumbfounded. Supreme Thunder Rhino's eyes nearly popped out of their sockets. Chapter 1301. 1301 Chapter 1301 Emperor takes action. Paragons. They're all corpses of paragons. Supreme Thunder Rhinoceros muttered to himself, his eyes filled with disbelief. He was even more shocked when he saw the corpse of the Flood Dragon Sovereign. Naturally, he could sense that the Flood Dragon Sovereign's bloodline contained 90% of the true dragon's blood. Even such a powerful supreme being was dead. Could it be that Lu Ming had killed him? Supreme Lightning Rhinoceros looked at Lu Ming. He could feel the terrifying killing intent radiating from Lu Ming's body, as well as the suffocating pressure that he was exuding. His heart trembled. How long has it been? He's already so powerful? Supreme Lightning Rhinoceros felt his entire body tremble. Lu Ming cast a casual glance at Supreme Thunder Rhino. When he had suppressed Thunder Rhino Supreme, he had carved a great formation on his body. During this time, Thunder Rhino Supreme had obediently stayed within the mountain and river diagram. However, Lu Ming knew that Supreme Lightning Rhinoceros was definitely not convinced and was definitely looking for an opportunity to escape. Lu Ming's purpose in entering this time was to intimidate the Thunder Rhino Supreme. As expected, Supreme Lu Ming was completely dumbfounded when he saw so many Supreme Being corpses. "Thunder Rhino, follow me out and kill the enemy." Lu Ming's voice rang out, and Supreme Thunder Rhino nodded his head repeatedly. "Little Qing, let's go out together." With a wave of his hand, Lu Ming brought Xian Yinqing and Supreme Lightning Rhinoceros out of the mountain and river diagram. "Lightning Rhino, go over there," Lu Ming said, pointing in the direction of the ancient city's exit. Hai Yu had already escaped from the exit. Yes. Thunder Rhino Supreme's body expanded rapidly. Lu Ming and Xian Yinqing stood on his body. With a loud roar, Thunder Rhino Supreme dashed towards the exit of the ancient city. Oh my god, Lu Ming's combat strength is too strong. He can stand shoulder to shoulder with an emperor or even suppress one. It's too terrifying. Lu Ming's cultivation level is only at the perfected spiritual god realm, but his combat strength is so shocking. I've never heard of it before. The key is how old Lu Ming is. Abnormal, monstrous. Lu Ming must have gone after Hai Yu. Let's go out and take a look. The spectators were in an uproar. They couldn't control their emotions at all. Even some Supreme Being experts were shouting as if they had lost control. The fluctuation caused by Lu Ming was too shocking. Then the group of people rushed toward the exit of the ancient city. After a while, Lu Ming arrived at the ancient city's exit on the Thunder Rhinoceros. The thunder rhinoceros rushed in, and in the next moment they appeared in the deep sea. A huge pressure was pressing down on them. Walala. Lu Ming waved his hand and the surrounding seawater seemed to be under his control. It moved aside automatically and a passage appeared. Buzz. Supreme Lightning Rhinoceros was shocked by Lu Ming's methods. He then roared and rushed up. With Lu Ming's help, the Lightning Rhinoceros' supreme speed was extremely fast. Like a bolt of lightning they rushed up. In just a short while, they had rushed out of the deep sea 300,000 meters deep and out of the surface. As soon as he emerged from the sea, Lu Ming discovered that the air was filled with people. When Lu Ming dashed out, everyone's eyes were on him. However, Lu Ming's gaze fell on one of them. Haiyu. Haiyu did not run away after he emerged from the sea. He glared at Lu Ming coldly, his eyes filled with killing intent. Lu Ming, how's my brother Haitian? Haiyu shouted. He wanted to kill me, what do you think? Don't worry, I'll immediately send you down to accompany him. Lu Ming sneered. His words caused an uproar. What? When you saw Haiyu running away in a hurry just now, you were so frightened. Was it because of him? How could this be? Although Lu Ming's combat strength is strong, he can't possibly be Haiyu's match. That's strange. Who on earth obtained the cultivation method of a pure spirit body? The people who were waiting outside were shocked to see Haiyu escape from the sea with a frightened expression. How could he do that with his cultivation? They speculated that some powerful monster had appeared at the bottom of the sea that even Haiyu was no match for. However, it seemed that Haiyu fled in fear because of Lu Ming. How dare you kill the people of the sea, suppressing Marshall's mansion? You should be executed by 1,000 cuts. At this time a cold voice came from the side of Haiyu. Lu Ming looked over and his pupils shrank slightly. An old man in a purple gold robe stood beside Haiyu. Earlier on, the aura of the old man had been concealed. He looked like an ordinary old man. That was why Lu Ming did not notice him. However, as the elder spoke, a domineering aura burst out from his body. The pressure was as heavy as a mountain and pressed down on Lu Ming. The Emperor. Lu Ming could not help but say. At the same time, he also understood why Haiyu didn't run away. It turned out that there was an Emperor of the Sea suppressing Marshall's mansion here. This was a true Emperor. Not good, it's the Emperor, let's go. Beneath Lu Ming's feet, Supreme Thunder Rhino sensed the aura of the purple and golden-robed elder. He cried out in horror and turned around to escape. Bang! Lu Ming's palm smacked Thunder Rhino Supreme's head, almost causing it to explode. Thunder Rhino Supreme's head buzzed and he was momentarily dazed. What are you running for? Wasn't he just an emperor? Do you have to be so scared? Lu Ming glanced at Supreme Lightning Rhino and said disdainfully. But he's an emperor. Supreme Thunder Rhinoceros was still scared to death, but when he saw Lu Ming's glare, he shivered in fear. He could only stop in his tracks and look at the purple and golden-robed elder with a guarded expression. He was wailing in his heart, sighing that Lu Ming was courting death and should not have dragged him into it. Lu Ming is not running away. The same thought flashed through the minds of the others. Facing the Emperor, he probably knows that he can't escape, so he might as well not escape. Some people guessed. I've already killed Hai Tian. I'm going to kill Haiyu too. If you want to stop me, let's see if you have the ability to do so. Lu Ming smiled faintly. What big words. The elder in the purple gold robe shouted coldly. However, he did not dare to underestimate Lu Ming. Haiyu had already told him about Lu Ming's combat strength. He knew very well how powerful Haiyu was with the Emperor's spiritual weapon. Even if he was weaker than him, he was not that far behind. However, Lu Ming was able to suppress Haiyu. One could only imagine how powerful he was. Nonsense, let's see how you're going to stop me. Kill. Lu Ming could not be bothered to waste his breath on the other party. He shouted coldly and took a step forward, charging toward Haiyu. How arrogant. I'd like to see how much you're worth. Earth Domain. The elder in the purple gold robe extended his palm and pressed it in the air. A yellowish-brown circle spread out and enveloped Lu Ming. Domain. This was a real domain, not the prototype of a supreme realm. The speed at which the comprehension shrouded him was shockingly fast. As soon as it appeared, it enveloped Lu Ming. At once, Lu Ming felt a terrifying pressure on his body. It was as if hundreds of mountains were pressing down on him. At the same time, a wave of destructive power charged toward Lu Ming. Chapter 1302. 1302 Chapter 1302 Fierce Battle with the Emperor. Domains of different attributes had different effects, but their power was shocking. This was the Earth domain. Not only did it have the effect of trapping the enemy, but it also had a terrifying offensive technique. Existences below the Emperor level, once trapped within the domain, would not have the slightest strength to fight back, and would be at the mercy of others. Open it. A dragon's roar was heard from within Lu Ming's body as 9 streams of dragon energy burst forth. At the same time he borrowed the power of his third bloodline, giving Lu Ming terrifying strength. Boom. Lu Ming's palm was as sharp as a knife. He used the prison-suppressing heavenly art and struck out. Selah. This palm was like a heavenly blade that appeared in the world. With one slash the sky and earth split open. An extremely powerful force exploded. The earth territory of the elder in the purple gold robe trembled violently as Lu Ming forcefully tore a hole in it. The expression of the elder in the purple gold robe changed. His figure flashed and he appeared in the territory. He pointed a finger at Lu Ming. I'd like to experience the strength of an emperor. The true vitality in Lu Ming's body boiled. His cultivation of the great circle of the spiritual god realm was exerted to the extreme. Lu Ming struck out with his palm again, and this palm collided with the other party's finger. Boom. There was a deafening boom and the earth domain shook violently. Lu Ming felt a terrifying force surging towards him. He stepped in the air and retreated. However, the elder in the purple gold robe also took a few steps back. That's a spirit body? What a powerful force. Lu Ming let out a breath of turbid air and pondered in his heart. A martial emperor was indeed extraordinary. The elder in the purple gold robe was at the first-level martial emperor realm, but his combat strength was considered strong even among the first-level martial emperors. Lu Ming was at a slight disadvantage in the previous move. However, Lu Ming's combat strength was still far from being fully displayed. Even so, the elder in the purple gold robe was shocked. What terrifying power! Is he still a martial artist in the great circle of the spiritual god stage? The eyes of the elder in the purple gold robe became serious. On the side, the others were already dumbfounded and stood there in a daze. Lu Ming could actually fight an emperor. He was shrouded in the emperor's territory and could still fight head-on with the emperor. It was unbelievable. Again? Lu Ming took a step back and stomped in the air, shattering the void. He continued to pounce on the elder in the purple gold robe. In the process of pouncing forward, the 9-dragon bloodline emerged. Lu Ming performed the blood meridian fusion and transformed into 9 dragons. Bus. Whoosh. After transforming into the 9 dragons, he struck out with his dragon claws and executed all kinds of martial techniques of creation. He's using so many martial techniques of creation at the same time. The elder in the purple gold robe had a serious expression on his face. His hands glowed and a pair of spirit weapon gloves appeared on his hands. Of course, it wasn't an emperor weapon, but an ordinary 9th-level spiritual weapon. An emperor's spiritual weapon, the emperor of spiritual weapons, wasn't something an ordinary person could possess. Many emperors didn't have one. With the spirit weapon gloves on, the elder's body began to swell, and his muscles began to squirm. A layer of earthen yellow light appeared on the surface of his muscles as he pushed the power of his spirit body to the limit and punched out a few times. The power of each punch was stronger than the power of the previous finger. The fist force collided with the 9 dragons' dragon claw. But this time, as soon as the two came into contact, the elder's expression changed drastically. His body trembled and the earthen yellow light around him trembled. Boom, boom, boom. After a few rumbles, the body of the elder in the purple gold robe was sent flying. He retreated a few thousand meters in the air, leaving a space crack that was a few thousand meters long. However, Lu Ming's body did not move an inch. This? At the scene, everyone was once again stunned. The emperor was actually at a disadvantage and was sent flying thousands of meters. The strength of an emperor is only SOSO. Since you want to make a move, I'll send you on your way first. Lu Ming shouted coldly. He twisted his dragon body and charged toward the elder in the purple gold robe. How can he be so strong? The purple and golden-robed elder was shocked as he forcefully suppressed the boiling blood in his body. His combat strength was considered strong even among the first-level martial emperors. However, he was not a match for a young man in the great circle of the spiritual god realm. This was simply like a fantasy. How could a martial artist in the great circle of the spirit god realm possess such powerful combat strength? If it were an ordinary great circle spiritual god, he would be able to kill them with a single slap. Seeing that Lu Ming was coming for him again, the elder in the purple gold robe could only use all his strength to fight Lu Ming. Boom, boom, boom. The two of them fought intensely. However, Lu Ming had transformed into the 9 dragons and his strength had increased greatly. On his dragon claws, he used different martial arts techniques of different concepts in turns. The power was shocking. Some of the dragon claws could also use the prison suppressing heaven technique, giving the elder in the purple gold robe a lot of pressure. Although the elder in the purple gold robe had used all his strength, he was no match for the other party. He was at a disadvantage as soon as they exchanged blows. After a few moves he was scratched by Lu Ming. If it wasn't for the fact that he had cultivated the spiritual body of the earth, which was more defensive and had amazing defensive power, he would have died. Even so, he still felt the burning pain all over his body and spat out a mouthful of blood. At this time the sea churned and many figures rushed out. They were the experts who had entered the ancient underwater city. They had all rushed out. As soon as they rushed out, they were shocked to see Lu Ming and the elder in the purple gold robe fighting. That's an emperor. Oh my god, Lu Ming has completely suppressed the king. The king is injured. Cries of alarm rang out. They had seen Lu Ming's combat strength in the ancient city. However, when they saw Lu Ming injure an emperor with their own eyes, the impact was still very strong. Boom, boom. The battle continued, and in just a dozen moves, the elder in the purple gold robe was beaten to the point where he spat out large mouthfuls of blood. His hair was disheveled and he looked extremely pathetic. He was completely suppressed by Lu Ming. Even though he had his territory and spirit body, it was useless. Lu Ming was too powerful and had completely surpassed him. It's time to end this. Lu Ming shouted and struck out with his claw. This claw was a fusion of 5 martial arts techniques of creation and there was a flash of chaotic light. This claw made the elder in the purple gold robe feel a fatal threat. Slash. The elder in the purple gold robe roared. A battle axe suddenly appeared in his hand. The battle axe quickly grew larger and turned into a giant axe that held up the sky. It stood between the sky and the earth, and an extremely terrifying imperial pressure spread out. Emperor's spiritual weapon. This battle axe was the same one that Hai Yu had used before. It seemed that Hai Yu had given the Emperor's spiritual weapon to the purple and golden-robed elder. No wonder Hai Yu was so confident and stayed here. An emperor using an emperor's spiritual weapon and a supreme being using an emperor's spiritual weapon were two completely different things. When a supreme martial artist used an emperor's spiritual weapon, he would not be able to unleash its true power. When an emperor used an emperor's spiritual weapon, its power would be extremely terrifying. The old man in the purple gold robe controlled the battle axe as if he could split the sky and the earth. Buzz. The battle axe struck down, and the huge axe radiance collided with the 9 dragons' claws. Chapter 1303. 1303 Vomiting Blood and Anger. Boom. The force swept out for tens of thousands of miles. A bright spot of light appeared where the axe and the dragon claw collided, and a circle of ripples visible to the naked eye spread out. Walala. In the ocean below, huge waves rose up and rolled up to the sky. It was like the end of the world. The space was completely annihilated, revealing a pitch-black space. The clouds in the sky instantly disappeared without a trace. Fortunately, the spectators were far enough away. Otherwise, no one below the Supreme Being realm would be able to survive this wave of energy. Even so, such a horrifying scene still made many people shiver and retreat. The place where the giant axe and the dragon claw met gave out a sizzling sound, and the dragon claw kept shaking. Bang. In the end, Lu Ming's attack was no match for the giant axe and was crushed. The dragon claw exploded and the 9 dragons' bodies were sent flying hundreds of miles away by a powerful force. Fortunately, the 9 dragons were formed from Lu Ming's bloodline power. After the dragon claw exploded, it immediately condensed again. What a powerful force. An emperor's spiritual weapon is indeed not something that a supreme martial artist can compare to. Lu Ming's gaze was somewhat solemn. Hai Yu's emperor's spiritual weapon had made his combat strength reach the level of an ordinary emperor. However, the emperor's spiritual weapon used by the elder in the purple gold robe was much more powerful. Lu Ming is no match for them. The Emperor's spiritual weapon is too powerful. Lu Ming is no match for it. He's finished. Is such a person going to die here today? Many people cried out in alarm. Some were gloating while others felt pity. Ah, I knew it. An emperor using an emperor's spiritual weapon will completely suppress Lu Ming. Lu Ming, you want to fight me? Go to hell. Hai Yu laughed, his eyes ferocious. It's over, it's over. In the distance, Supreme Lightning Rhinoceros continued to growl. Previously, when Lu Ming had displayed his might and severely injured an emperor, Supreme Lightning Rhinoceros had thought that he was dreaming. It had only been a short while. When Lu Ming was fighting with him, he had to rely on the lightning cauldron and his pets to defeat and suppress him. However, only a few months had passed and Lu Ming could defeat an emperor with his own strength, let alone him. If Lu Ming wanted to kill him, he could probably do it with a slap. Initially, he had already made up his mind to follow Lu Ming obediently in the future. With such a proud person, he might be able to benefit from this misfortune by becoming Lu Ming's mount. However, when he saw that Lu Ming was at a disadvantage, his heart sank. What end? Lu Ming will not lose. Xian Yanqing slapped Supreme Thunder Rhino on the head and scolded him. She was very confident in Lu Ming. Moreover, she knew that Lu Ming had cultivated the legendary Chaos Will. Up until now, Lu Ming had not used the Chaos Will. He still won't be defeated even after this. Supreme Thunder Rhino was skeptical. Die. The elder in the purple gold robe wielded his battle axe and swung it, splitting the space in half. The powerful force completely enveloped Lu Ming, making it impossible for him to escape. Let's see how far I can go without using chaos intent. Lu Ming's eyes shone with a strong fighting spirit. Above his head, the thunder cauldron appeared and turned into the size of a mountain. He rushed toward the battle axe and at the same time, used the 9 dragon steps and struck out with another claw. It was also a fusion of 5 martial arts techniques of intent. Clang. The thunder cauldron was the first to be hit. It collided with the battle axe and was sent flying. Lu Ming's attack arrived and struck the battle axe. In the midst of the loud boom, Lu Ming retreated again. However, this time he retreated a lot less than the previous time because the thunder cauldron had offset a part of the power of the battle axe. That's all you got again? Lu Ming controlled the lightning cauldron and attacked again. Lu Ming did not use the Chaos Will. Instead, he used the Thunder Cauldron as a support and mainly used 5 types of martial arts techniques to engage in an intense battle with the Elder in the purple gold robe. In this way, although Lu Ming was still at a slight disadvantage, it would not be a one-sided battle and he would not be in a state of anxiety. The two of them fought intensely, and the area within tens of thousands of miles became the battlefield of their battle. In the ocean, huge waves were surging. The island was swept by the terrifying force. It exploded and turned into ashes, disappearing from the sea. In the sky far away, countless people stood there, staring at the battlefield with their eyes wide open. They held their breaths, not willing to miss a single thing. Some supreme martial artists' eyes were even shining as they stared at it. It was rare for emperors to go all out in a life-and-death battle, and it gave them some inspiration. Soon the two of them exchanged hundreds of moves. Good ha. Lu Ming let out a long howl and burst out laughing. In this battle, other than the chaos intent, he did not hold back at all. He used his full power and had a great time. During this period of time, his progress had been too fast and his foundation was somewhat unstable. After this battle, it could be considered to have completely stabilized and was as solid as a rock. At the same time, during the battle, Lu Ming felt that his understanding of the 5 martial arts techniques of creation was getting deeper and deeper, as if he could make a breakthrough at any time. Moreover, Lu Ming was using them together. Once he broke through, all 5 types of martial arts techniques would break through and reach the 4th level. The power of the 5 martial techniques of creation would undoubtedly increase again after they reached the 4th level. Damn it! How can a mere ant in the great circle of the spiritual god stage have such shocking battle prowess? The more they fought, the more shocked the elder in the purple gold robe was. This guy must be killed. Otherwise there will be endless trouble in the future. I'll just waste my time with him. As an emperor, my true yuan is definitely more powerful than his, and I'll be able to last longer. The elder in the purple gold robe pondered. After making up his mind, he continued to charge at Lu Ming. In the blink of an eye, the two of them exchanged over a dozen moves. All of a sudden Lu Ming's dragon claw swiped out. Its power was much stronger than before. Ah, I've broken through. I've broken through the martial arts technique of creation. Lu Ming was overjoyed. After an intense battle, Lu Ming's 5 martial arts techniques of creation finally broke through and entered the 4th level. Boom. In this exchange, Lu Ming retreated, but the elder in the purple gold robe was also pushed back. A draw. Lu Ming had been at a disadvantage in the beginning. Now, with the help of the Thunder Cauldron, he was on par with the elder in the purple gold robe. Ah, detestable. The purple and golden-robed elder naturally sensed Lu Ming's breakthrough in his martial arts technique. He roared in his heart and was so angry that he almost vomited blood. After an intense battle, not only did he not kill Lu Ming, but he also helped Lu Ming to break through his martial arts technique. How could this be? He only felt that there was a breath stuck in his chest, and it was so uncomfortable that he wanted to die. How depressing. Instead of killing Lu Ming, he had helped him. Ah, I really have to thank you. However, this battle should end here. Lu Ming laughed heartily. A layer of misty aura spread out from his body, turning into the color of chaos. The lightning cauldron trembled slightly and shrank rapidly, flying back to Lu Ming's glabella and disappearing. At the same time, Lu Ming's body shrank and returned to his human form. Lu Ming kept the lightning cauldron and returned to his human form. He walked toward the elder in the purple gold robe. What is he doing? The surrounding spectators were slightly dumbstruck. Infinite Ways of the Dragon Monarch. Chapter 1304. 1304 Killing an Emperor. Lu Ming's action stunned the onlookers. Lu Ming had been able to contend with the elder in the purple and gold robe with the help of the lightning cauldron, but now, Lu Ming had put away the lightning cauldron and even cancelled the blood meridian fusion. He was heading toward the elder in the purple and gold robe. What was he doing? Was he trying to commit suicide? Countless people were filled with doubts. I don't care what you want to do. Go to hell. The purple gold-robed elder roared in his heart. He held the giant axe with both hands and poured his true yuan into it. At the same time, he controlled his domain and activated the domain power within the giant axe, pushing its power to the extreme. Buzz. The huge axe, bigger than a mountain, came down on Lu Ming. Lu Ming's expression was calm in the face of the axe. He had no intention of using the lightning cauldron to resist. Prison suppression. Lu Ming clenched his fists and the muscles in his body squirmed. The air of chaos permeated his body, especially at his fists, where the air of chaos was the densest. The Chaos Will. Lu Ming had finally used the Chaos Will. Lu Ming used his vital essence, 9 streams of dragon energy, and the power of his 3rd bloodline as the foundation to cast the prison-suppressing heaven technique. With the support of the chaos concept, he threw a punch. Boom, boom, boom. Lu Ming's fist seemed to be moving slowly, but in reality, it was flying towards the elder in the purple gold robe at an extremely fast speed. What does Lu Ming want to do? He's using his body to fight against an emperor's spiritual weapon? Crazy, he's crazy. He's looking for death? A proud son of heaven has fallen. Lu Ming's action caused a commotion. Lu Ming had abandoned the lightning cauldron and removed the blood fusion. In the end, he actually used his body to fight against an emperor's spiritual weapon. If he was not crazy, what was? No one could figure out why Lu Ming would do such a thing. Ah, I don't care what madness you're going to have. Go to hell. Hai Yu's eyes were filled with excitement. His face was ferocious, but he was laughing in his heart. In the entire place, only one person, no, only one turtle, saw through the trick, and that was Dandan. That's the Chaos Will. When did Lu Ming master the Chaos Will? Dandan's mouth was agape and tongue-tied, her pair of turtle eyes wide open, full of disbelief. Boom. Under everyone's watchful eyes, Lu Ming's fist collided heavily with the Emperor's spiritual weapon battle-axe. Everyone had imagined that Lu Ming would be crushed like dried weeds and rotten wood, that he would be severely injured by the axe or even killed. However, the scene did not appear. Instead, it was an unbelievable scene. The fist and the battle-axe collided. The battle-axe actually made a violent roar and kept shaking. At this moment, the elder in the purple gold robe seemed to have suffered a terrible blow. His arms and even his body trembled with the giant axe. Then, his face turned pale and he spat out a mouthful of blood. Buzz. The giant axe trembled. The old man in the purple gold robe could no longer hold the giant axe. The giant axe left his hand and flew into the sky. There was complete silence between heaven and earth. Everyone was stunned. Their eyes were wide open and their mouths were agape. It was as if something was stuck in their throats and they couldn't make a single sound. Chaos will. It really is the chaos will. Only Dandan was mumbling to herself. Chirping. Bubbles was harmless. She blinked her innocent eyes and seemed to be cheering for Lu Ming. This fellow? Xian Yinqing said softly. Even though he knew that Lu Ming had successfully cultivated the chaos concept, he was still shocked by the power. As for Supreme Thunder Rhino, he was completely petrified. The power of chaos intent is indeed shocking. Lu Ming's lips curled into a smile. It was said that the heaven and earth were evil levered from chaos. There was chaos chi in the heaven and earth, which was the most original and most precious treasure. It was said that a wisp of chaos chi could collapse the sky and destroy mountains. The chaos will also had the characteristics of the chaos chi. It was extremely heavy and powerful. Combined with the prison suppressing heaven skill, they complemented each other well. With a punch, he sent the elder's giant axe flying and injured him. Kill? Lu Ming shouted. He stepped forward, surrounded by chaos intent, and punched again. Boom. The sky began to collapse wherever Lu Ming's fist passed, as if a black hole had appeared in the sky. Chaos intent spread out and completely locked onto the elder in purple and gold. The violet gold-robed elder's expression changed as he roared and punched with all his strength, hoping to block it. Boom. The moment the two fists met, the purple and golden-robed elder's domain shattered under the terrifying pressure. Then, it broke through the fist force of the elder in the purple gold robe and landed on his fist. Kacha. The sound of bones breaking could be heard. Even though the elder in the purple gold robe had cultivated a spirit body, it was useless. His palm was deformed and his entire arm was twisted. The old man in the purple gold robe screamed as he was sent flying hundreds of miles away. His face was pale and he spat out blood. However, the old man in the purple gold robe did not dare to stay. He turned around and ran. Wind Elemental Technique. Lu Ming cast the wind element technique and his figure was like a phantom. In a flash, he approached the elder in the purple gold robe at extreme speed. From 100 miles away he threw a punch. As the fist force pressed forward, the space within a few hundred miles in front of Lu Ming was smashed. The terrifying fist force surged towards the elder in the purple gold robe like a raging flood. This was the suppression of power. It was simple and direct, but there was no way to dodge. The old man in the purple gold robe could only counterattack with all his might. However, he had lost his emperor's spiritual weapon. Even if Lu Ming did not use the chaos will, he could still suppress him. He was not Lu Ming's match at all. The fist force crushed over, and the old man in the purple and gold robe rolled in the air like a little chick. His body made a crackling sound and blood spurted out of his mouth. It's time to end this. A deep voice came from Lu Ming's mouth. He cast the wind element technique and appeared in front of the elder in the purple gold robe in an instant. He held the void in his hand and the chaos concept condensed into a long spear. The long spear was like lightning as it pierced toward the elder's dantian. No, spare my life. The elder in the purple gold robe roared, but Lu Ming was not moved at all. He thrust his long spear down. The spear condensed by the chaos will was extremely sharp. It easily broke through the opponent's spiritual body and pierced through the dantian, piercing through the opponent's spiritual god. The power on the spear exploded, and the elder in the purple gold robe let out a miserable scream. However, after only a breath, there was no more sound, and his life force disappeared. The old man in the purple gold robe, the emperor of a generation, was dead. The heavens. When the surrounding people saw this scene, they already felt numb and were completely unable to say a word. Impossible. Haiyu roared. His eyes were bloodshot and he couldn't believe it. It's your turn. Lu Ming fixed his eyes on Haiyu. He moved and headed toward him. No. Haiyu's body turned cold and he ran away like a madman. However, even the emperor could not escape from Lu Ming's hands. Furthermore, Lu Ming's wind element technique had extreme speed. He caught up with Haiyu in an instant and threw a punch. The chaos will suppressed Haiyu. Haiyu screamed in pain. His body was torn apart and his spiritual god exploded. A supreme being like Haiyu, who had awakened a 9th-level divine-level bloodline, could not even withstand one move from Lu Ming. Chapter 1305. 1305 Blood Essence of an Emperor. Gasps were heard at the scene. The people who were watching the battle only reacted now. Everyone looked at Lu Ming in shock. The emperor had been killed by Lu Ming. This outcome was beyond everyone's expectations, and it was too shocking. He was an emperor. In history there were also peerless geniuses who could jump levels to fight. It wasn't rare to see someone in the Supreme Being realm jump levels to fight against an emperor. However, it was only a great battle. It was only a resistance, not a suppression. There were very few Supremes who could suppress emperors. Not to mention killing an emperor. Even if an emperor couldn't defeat it, they would still have a good chance of escaping. Moreover, Supreme martial artists cultivated spirit bodies and had extremely strong vitality, making them very difficult to kill. There were only a few cases of Supremes killing emperors in the Divine Ruins continent since ancient times. However, Lu Ming's cultivation level was only at the Great Circle of the Spiritual God Realm. A Great Circle of the Spiritual God Realm could kill an emperor. Such an example had never happened in the continent group of the Divine Ruins. There were no records of it, and it was unheard of. Lu Ming had already created history. Countless pairs of eyes were looking at Lu Ming, filled with shock and fear. Which one of you still wants to stop me? Lu Ming's eyes were like lightning as he scanned the surroundings. All the powerhouses, including the Supreme Beings, lowered their heads immediately after meeting Lu Ming's eyes. They did not dare to look him in the eye. The powerhouses who entered the underwater ancient city knew that Lu Ming had obtained the cultivation method of the pure spirit body, but none of them dared to say anything. What a joke. Lu Ming had even killed an emperor. Whoever spoke up would be courting death. In that case, Lei Shi, let's go. With a wave of his hand, Lu Ming stored the corpse of the elder in the purple gold robe into the mountain and river diagram, then returned to the back of the lightning rhinoceros Supreme. Buzz. Supreme Lightning Rhinoceros let out an excited roar, and lightning crackled around his body. He spread his forelegs apart and sprinted toward the ocean. He was excited. Now he was full of admiration for Lu Ming. He had no second thoughts. He had already made up his mind to follow Lu Ming for the rest of his life. Even if Lu Ming chased him away, he would follow Lu Ming shamelessly. A great circle of the spiritual god realm was able to kill an emperor. Such a genius had never appeared in history. In the future, becoming an emperor was a sure thing. It would even be easy for him to dominate the continent group of the Divine Ruins and become the strongest expert. He could even cause a wave in the Yuan continent and become an important person. Supreme Thunder Rhino would be an idiot if he didn't follow a genius with such boundless prospects. As long as he stayed by Lu Ming's side obediently, he would definitely benefit from Lu Ming's rise in the future. Originally, he had no hope of breaking through to the Emperor realm, but now, a glimmer of hope appeared in his heart. Thump thump thump. Supreme Thunder Rhinoceros ran with all his might, his body crackling with lightning. He streaked through the air like a bolt of lightning, piercing through the ocean and heading deeper into the ocean. Lu Ming and Xian Yinqing sat cross-legged on the back of the Thunder Rhino Supreme, as steady as a mountain. Lu Ming, you've cultivated the chaos will. Amazing, really amazing. I know. In the ancient city in the deep sea, you disappeared for more than 10 breaths. At that time, a primordial chaos token appeared. Were you brought to the Chaos Hall by the primordial chaos token? Dandan jumped onto Lu Ming's shoulder and mumbled a bunch of questions. Dandan was worthy of being in existence at the level of an old monster. She was experienced and knowledgeable, so she guessed the general situation right at once. That's right, you didn't guess wrong. Lu Ming nodded. Impressive, Lu Ming. I was right about you. It seems that you have already obtained the legacy of that guy, Chaos. Dandan said. Dandan, you know the Chaos the Arch? Lu Ming asked curiously. Of course I do. That guy is very powerful. He is on the same level as me. Dandan placed her claws behind her back and said proudly. You can continue bragging. Lu Ming pursed his lips. He had learned from Earth 1 that the Chaos the Arch was one of the peak existences in the world and few could compare to him. Even the Hall Master of the Time and Space Spiritual Hall, Time and Space Spirit Rat, was slightly inferior to the Chaos the Arch. Dandan and the Spacetime Spirit Rat were equally famous. They were one of the top 10 war beasts. How could they be compared to the Chaos the Arch? Who's bragging? I'm the head of the top 10 battle beasts, the peak existence in the world. Being looked down upon by Lu Ming once again, Dandan shouted unhappily. Lu Ming smiled and did not argue with Dandan any further. With a wave of his hand, a pile of corpses appeared on the back of the Lightning Rhinoceros Supreme. They were the bodies of the supreme beings that Lu Ming had killed and the elder in the purple gold robe. Lu Ming, how about you leave these corpses to me? This is a rare tonic that can help this lord recover a portion of his strength. Dandan looked at the corpses, especially the Emperor's corpse, and almost drooled. For you? I have use for the blood essence. I can give you the rest. Lu Ming muttered to himself. The prison-suppressing steel bloodline was only at divine level 8. It needed blood essence to level up. As for the rest, they were not of much use to Lu Ming. Lu Ming's current cultivation level was at the great circle of the spiritual god stage. The next step would be to comprehend the embryonic stage of the domain and step into the supreme stage. This step could not be improved by devouring with the 9-dragon bloodline. It had to be comprehended by oneself. In fact, his future cultivation could not be improved by devouring. Comprehension was the most important. Therefore, other than the blood essence, the blood of a supreme emperor, vital essence energy, and so on were useless to Lu Ming. He might as well give them to Dandan. Then Lu Ming took out some jade bottles and directed them with his vital essence. The blood essence from the supreme beings' corpses flew out and into the jade bottles. There were a total of 7 supreme martial artists. Each supreme martial artist had 9 drops of blood essence, which were stored in different jade bottles. Finally, it was the blood essence of the old man in the purple gold robe. As an emperor, the elder's blood essence was like a blood-colored pearl, filled with endless energy. As it flew out, a vast and boundless imperial pressure was emitted. This was Lu Ming's fault. If it was an ordinary martial artist below the spiritual god realm, they would have been shaken to death by this kind of imperial pressure. An ordinary spiritual god realm warrior would be seriously injured. Only those at the advanced spiritual god level and above could get close and collect the blood essence of the emperor. Lu Ming used a jade bottle to store the blood essence of the emperor. As for their storage rings, Lu Ming naturally did not let them go. He had already kept them. Dandan, you can have it, Lu Ming said. Ha ha ha. Dandan laughed and opened her mouth. The corpses of the supreme martial artists and emperors were all sucked into her mouth and disappeared. I'll keep it and slowly digest it. Dandan grinned, her eyes narrowing. Then, Dandan's eyes started to size up the sea again. The treasures in the ocean are more than 10 times more abundant than those on land. There are countless rare treasures. I can't miss this trip. Dandan muttered. Chirping. Bubbles called out in response to Dandan. Ah, good. We'll work together to get more treasures. Dandan grinned and pulled Bubbles to the side to discuss. You're tuning in to the Han Li's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.